Holmes, Michael Darcy. We head up until 2 o'clock. The next 4 hours, we've got you. Boy, tons of stuff to cover today and get into. We talk some college basketball, certainly. We'll talk some NFL football. We'll talk some Major League Baseball. The Royals pitchers and catchers reporting yesterday. Matt Quattrero. Here we go. First day of meeting with the media. Q yesterday talking about the pitchers and the health and Cole Reagans and Chris Bubich and Noah Cameron. We'll hear from Matt Quattrero today on the show. Things that he had to say yesterday there in Surprise, Arizona. Jack Johnson and Easton John will be heading down there this weekend. We'll be talking with them next week daily with their reports from spring training, as the rest of the squad will be reporting on Sunday/Monday. But pitchers and catchers reporting yesterday. So we'll talk a little Royals baseball today. We'll get into the Chiefs. They have a reported new running back coach. We'll talk about what it may mean for the Chiefs. And just a preview. I don't know what it's going to be like. I don't know how good of a coach he's going to be. But the comments are along the same lines that I've kind of gotten to the point of being done with. I was hoping the Chiefs had gotten to the point of being done with, and we'll explain when we get into that conversation. We'll also go through which free agents offensively and defensively we would want the Chiefs to bring back, re-sign, or let walk. So we'll get into that today as well. 913-912-4810 is the text line. It's a couple ways to go here. We're going to start with the big win last night.
Oh, yeah, baby.
And we will certainly get into the big loss last night, because we'll get into that, okay? Because if I start going down that road, that's where we'll start.
No, let's start
That's
positive.
where we will
turn
start.
me up, baby.
Mark that.
I said turn me up, not turn me.
Either way, all right. Don't turn him up. His microphone's just fine.
I can absolutely cut it to make it sound horrible.
That's right.
Yeah, come on.
We've never done that before.
You've never once done
No,
that.
not at all. You've always claimed to be a fan of only Mizzou. You've never claimed to be a fan of any other team, right? I mean, ever.
Legitimately, yes.
Not one time I've ever heard you say on this
You've changed
show
things
that.
to...
What are you talking? I've never heard you say anything like that.
I'm a KU Jayhawk fan now.
Oh wait,
It
actually,
even
you know what?
is
That
edited.
reminds me. I did hear something
That's
like that.
edited.
I'm a KU Jayhawk fan
Edited.
now.
Wow.
M-I-Z.
Even after last night's win, you still feel that way.
Dude.
That's big. So anyway, let's get into the show. That was a massive win, and I'm not sure that we will know the impact of that win until the bracket comes out. It may be a great win along the way that they don't take advantage of the rest of the season. I don't believe that to be the case. They are playing teams that are above them in the KenPom rankings, above them in the net ratings. They have opportunities, and above them in seed lines on all these different brackets that are out there. They have opportunities to go head-to-head with teams that resumes may be head-to-head. Every bracket that's out there, you go to Bracket Matrix, there's 111 brackets that they look at. Texas A&M is on 111 brackets. They are securely in the tournament, according to 111 different people that do bracketology. Missouri, according to Bracket Matrix, before last night, was the last team in. They were the last at-large bid. They showed up on 50 brackets of 111. It has not been updated for today with the other brackets that may have updated today as well. We'll see that later on today, maybe tonight. We could talk about it tomorrow probably.
Update it, you cowards.
Yeah, do it now. Well, everybody else has to update their brackets in real time. So we'll see what it means. But this was a huge, huge win for Mizzou to be able to go to Texas A&M and go on the road where typically they haven't played to the level that they play at home when they go on the road. And it's the exact opposite, by the way, of Kansas State, that goes on the road and actually gives teams competition, then returns home and it's like, oh, kind of just want to be laying in bed right now, you know? Missouri goes on the road and oftentimes doesn't match the intensity, while at home, they look really, really good. Last night was a significant win for me because they played like a Missouri team that's at Mizzou Arena.
Yes.
That's what it looked like to me. If you would have said There is no setting here. Everything's blacked out. Everything's a green screen everywhere. Even the floor is the new glass floor for the Big 12 tournament, right? So you don't know whose home floor that is. The jerseys would give it away too. Either way, what I'm getting at is if you could erase all of that and it was shirts and skins, or just skins and skins, who knows? I'm not sure. But it would look like a Missouri team playing at home. I would have guessed that's a home game for Mizzou. That, to me, is a significant factor in this, because it had been, Sterling, for this season, home, road, Jekyll, Hyde. They went to Kentucky and got a win. Oh, they lose at home to Georgia. They flipped a couple there, but for the most part, it's home, road.
Sure.
Dude, playing like that on the road, where it was disciplined, one of the most impressive things, and I have been critical of Dennis Gates and his coaching. I've given credit where credit is due with Dennis Gates and his coaching. The end of the Kentucky game was phenomenal by Dennis Gates. We've talked about that, how he went big. Kentucky couldn't match. Mark Pope and Kentucky fans are pulling their hair out as to why he wasn't doing what Dennis Gates was doing. Dennis Gates kept putting Kentucky's guards in a grind with the screen and rolls. They didn't adjust. It was beautiful. Missouri went into that game. There's so many teams, Sterling, that get caught into buckyball and just get out of control up and down the floor, up and down the floor, up and down the floor. Texas A&M forces a turnover 1 out of every 5 defensive possessions. They force a turnover. 1 out of every 5. It's one of the best in America. Missouri turned it over 9 times last night.
And 3 were Sean Phillips.
Yes, right. They played, and this is where it comes down to Dennis Gates, is a game plan, and getting your team to play to the game plan is coaching.
Yeah.
They were incredibly disciplined. They attacked when they had numbers, and it called for attacking, and they slowed the game when the numbers weren't there, and it meant they needed to get into some offensive sets. It's easy just to break the press, and it might be, and then you shoot up a bad shot, and then they go the other way and score, and now you've got this whole everything's moving too fast. When they had the numbers, they attacked, and they got good shots, didn't score every time, but there were plenty of times, Sterling, where it was like, oh, slow it up, and then they did. You're like, oh, okay, that feels a little bit different, because they weren't doing that against Auburn at times when it's like, slow it up, and they were getting out of control and missing stuff. You're like, what are you doing? Sterling, this was a disciplined game that Missouri played, and each team played to their advantage.
Yeah.
A&M played to their advantage, which is they shoot a lot of threes, they make a lot of threes. We talked about yesterday, Sterling, Missouri had the height advantage. They can't get into a three-point contest. They have to be disciplined, break the press, focus inside where their strength is. 56-28 points in the paint last night for Mizzou. It was as disciplined of a game as I've seen Missouri play, and I think it's pretty significant moving forward.
39-26, they just hammered A&M on the boards. I mean, just hammered them on the offensive glass. 16 offensive rebounds for Mizzou. The only one small criticism I have of Dennis Gates this entire game was the zone. I hate when he goes to zone. I will never understand why he does it against good three-point shooting teams.
There were a lot of open shots in the first half. Like, well, they made 11. Well, they made a lot of open shots.
They had some A&M the second half. They had that streak or that stretch that was really cold, but they still went 15 of 33.
Yeah.
It wasn't like they were like 9 of 40 from the three-point line. They shot 45% from three, and Missouri still won. I was so impressed with the ball handling of T.O. Barrett and Anthony Robinson, and I have no idea what's going on with his shot. It's atrocious. It's brutal. It is night and day from like even last year to now, but it has not affected his defense or his playmaking ability or his ability to bring the ball up the court with a lot of pressure on him. To me, Trent Pierce was a storyline. I think Dennis Gates, also the storyline of moving Trent Pierce to the 4/5 and saying, hey, we know you're not the biggest guy, but we think your length will be able to get it done. When you mentioned slowing it down, they did, but they were aggressive enough to where we're going to get to the basket.
Yeah.
Even if we have an open three. I love this from Mark Mitchell, who had a quiet night shooting. 8 assists. He turned into a playmaker. And I was just enamored with the fact of we're not going to take the first 3 that we see. We're going to pump fake, drive, and make a layup. T.O. Barrett kept driving the ball. Jaden Stone early in the game.
But even late did that with that big basket in the back and forth.
The big one late.
Yeah.
Because early in the game, I think he got a little sped up. He went to the bench for a little bit. He came back in, and late in the game, what happened? He decided to drive the ball. I just thought Trent Pierce was huge. Jacob Cruz finally hitting a couple big threes was nice to see because he had been real cold in SEC play. But just they had Bucky ball, and Mizzou played bully ball is basically what it came down to. That last play call out of a timeout, that worked a couple times before, and Sean Phillips actually blew the dunk early in the game.
Sprite commercial.
Second half, yeah.
Yeah. No, it was like a few possessions before.
Yeah, it wasn't even that much. But that final possession out of a timeout to draw that up, Mark Mitchell, great pass.
Beautiful.
And defensively, Sean Phillips, again, I think deserves a lot of credit for not fouling, hands up the entire way. What did he do against
Mississippi State or Ole Miss?
Ole Miss, I think is what it was. Ole Miss, when he
they
fouled,
lost that game.
and it wouldn't have mattered because the free throw didn't matter.
Yeah.
They were up one.
Yeah.
But he fouled anyways. It was bad defense. This time around, he learned, and that's what you can ask for, right? Is, hey, just don't do it again. Sean Phillips didn't do it again. He played great defense, and I'm just enamored at this Missouri team. I did not expect this. I have also 7 guys. I know Anor Boateng's been injured.
Yeah.
I get that. But 7 guys. Randall's not going in. Northweather's not going in. Trent Burns isn't going in.
They can't run with
You
those
can't
guys.
run. Sebastian Mack, obviously, I believe he's injured as well, too.
Well, even if he played, he would have been out of control.
So-
Sebastian Mack is not a guy that could have been disciplined in that game last night. He would
You
got out
have
of
your
control.
7 guys. You have your 7 guys now.
Well, that to me is significant last night because Bucky ball, they play, 10, 11 guys, and they just go out and run. They press on a make, press on a miss. You don't really get that. Mizzou, in a game that was up and down, but again, I mentioned discipline because while that felt like an incredibly fast-paced up-and-down game, it was the third fewest possessions that A&M has played this year. They've only had a few games where they've had under 70 possessions. Wow. Last night was 66. They've only had 2 other games that were fewer possessions than that. But it still felt like a crazy up-and-down game, right?
Especially late.
Yeah. 7 straight possessions where it was a lead change, which was just unbelievable basketball. There were also some good defense, too. It wasn't like nobody was playing defense. They were just shot makers, man. It was really fun to watch. But the discipline part of it, and as you're, discussing Missouri and going with the 7 guys, Bucky plays a lot of guys. What Dennis Gates had to do was, we're playing 7, but we're quickly rotating. This guy's coming in. This guy's going to go to the bench for a couple minutes. Then we're going to get him back in. I have to keep all my guys fresh. He took a chance. Because he couldn't take him off the floor, and this is credit to T.O. Barrett. He kept T.O. in the game while A&M was subbing guys in and out. You could tell how exhausted T.O. Barrett was.
Yes.
That guy mentally, physically was getting drained the whole game because of bringing the ball up with that pressure, when to push, when to bring it out, driving, having to be that tough and physical just to get inside the arc. I think T.O. Barrett played. There have been other statistical games that are better. I think he played his best game as a Missouri Tiger because what he had to do in being the leader of that team. And you mentioned Anthony Robinson. And last night was a big deal for me for Anthony Robinson because we have seen him when his offense has struggled since T.O. got the start.
Sure.
He's sort of disappeared in games. He comes in, he fouls, he goes back to the bench, he takes bad shots. He's not really engaged in the game. They could not have won last night if Anthony Robinson was that guy that he's been a number of times since T.O. got the starting nod. He had to be in the game and say, I still have to play my game bringing the ball up. Because having 2 guys that are that good at breaking the press, T.O. and Ant Robinson, and for him to, in a game like that, have 5 assists and no turnovers.
Huge.
And only commit a couple of fouls and play defense the way that he did without fouling late in the game. It was as engaged as we've seen Anthony Robinson since he lost his starting job. And it's what I talked with Myron Metcalf about on Tuesday and said, can Missouri take another step if Anthony Robinson is playing like this that feels like he's in his own head and kind of, I don't want to say sulking because I don't know the man. I don't know what he's doing behind the scenes, but it felt like when T.O. got the starting nod that Anthony Robinson sort of just went into a shell of himself. And I said to Myron, can they take another step? and how Dennis Gates gets to him. And he's like, this ain't about Dennis Gates. These are grown men. Essentially, he's a junior. He's got to figure it out on his own. Like, you can't be babysitting guys all the time. This guy's been around for a number of years. Like, you can't just simply say, well, this guy, it's on Dennis Gates as to why Anthony Robinson is not playing that well. And then the next day, we see Anthony Robinson, to me, play as well as he's played since he lost his starting job. They had to have every bit of it. Mark Mitchell played the game that came to him. He didn't force it. 14 lead changes, 9 in the last 5.5 minutes, and 7 straight possessions with a lead change last night. It's a feather in the cap for Mizzou and Dennis Gates and their tournament resume. Now go take advantage of it. You earned that. It's like, what did Trey Smith say last week with us? He said, when I asked him about wanting to run the football as an offensive lineman, he goes, we always want to run the football. We want to make the defensive line earn the right to rush the passer. Missouri has earned the right now to take advantage to keep this feather in their cap. Don't go and give it away moving forward, because this was a big one,
especially against Texas. I know we said 1-1, but now you're getting greedy.
Said 1-1 thing and then lose last night.
Let's hope 2-0. Again, how many games you're going to win with Mark Mitchell being your 6th leading scorer? Your 6th leading scorer was Mark Mitchell,
but your leading assist man,
who played a really good game. I just keep going back to Anthony Robinson bringing the ball up the court, because if you are a guard and you've known how hard it is, even if it's not, and T.O. Barrett, to your point too, even if it doesn't look like a lot, even if it's just hey, they might not steal it, just the pressure that's put on you mentally and physically to not get it stolen, to set your offense up while there is pressure, and it's not just easily walking the ball up the court leisurely, doing a little skip to my Lou. It's different. And again, this was a big picture. I learned a lot from this team. I learned a lot from Dennis Gates. Dennis Gates this year, I think, has improved a lot as I know play caller's probably not the right word.
In-game strategist.
In-game strategist. He's no longer. I think in previous seasons you could make the case that he was getting out-coached.
He was a recruit. Last year in the tournament was rough for him.
It was brutal. Yeah. But we've seen changes this year, and that's what you want.
Yeah.
Right? Recruit first, and then can you adjust and can you become a in-game strategist? And we have seen that. This year, multiple times down the stretch, I go, you know what? Even if it doesn't work, you have to always take what does it look like out of an inbounds play? What's it look like when you call a timeout, and do they look discombobulated? Did they get the shot they wanted?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sure, it might not go in. Maybe it's a miss, but did they get the look that they wanted? And how many times, as the season's gone on, I felt like they got the look they wanted. That was the exact play call you needed in that situation. Open 3 for Jaden Stone, or an open 3 for Trent Pierce.
Yeah.
That was a Bill Self play right there.
The 3 for Jacob Cruz in that Ole Miss loss.
Yes.
That he got coming off the screen, and they hit it before, on defense they didn't come through. That was a great play call to get it to Jacob Cruz to take the lead. And the juxtaposition of the two. Mizzou calls a timeout. They get the lob for the dunk to take the lead. A&M calls a timeout on a loose ball, but whatever, didn't matter.
Yeah, what was what
apparently
was that?
If you just touch the ball, if you have your hand near the basketball and call timeout, they grant you the timeout. That's odd. But coming out of that timeout, what did Bucky McMillan, what did he set up? Oh, I'm going to throw it into AJ and let him go to work.
I don't think that was the play.
Maybe it was, this is the play, and we'll see how they play off it. You got to
sure,
but there's 3.9 seconds left. So you can't really say, let's throw it into him, and then you decide where to go. You got to make a decision quickly.
Yeah, I think he made a decision, and
and I think but I think they wanted to go after Sean Phillips because they've seen him late in game defend foul. So I do think that was part of the strategy of, we're going to put our guy one-on-one against what we believe is the weak link defensively, even though he's got the height advantage. He doesn't necessarily defensively play like that. So we're going to throw it into this guy and let him go to work. It would have been the equivalent of coming out of a timeout, Dennis Gates saying, throw the ball into Mark Mitchell and go away and let him do some work. Instead, he set up the back screen, lob, dunk, beautiful. You get an easy basket. And Bucky sets up the throw it into AJ and let him go to work, and he gets blocked. And it was a great game, and Missouri needed that one. And now we'll see it's quad 1 win. That's big for the net. It's quad 1 going on the road and beating a team like that in A&M. And real quick on the rebounding.
Yeah.
I don't really look at the overall numbers because like in the first half, it's like, oh, Missouri's got all these offensive rebounds and A&M doesn't have any. It's like, well, A&M was making every shot.
Yeah.
You can't get an offensive rebound when the ball goes in. The percentage of the rebounding. So what last night was where Missouri had to play to their strength. Offensive rebound on the season, Missouri averages about 37%, grabbing 37% of their offensive rebounds. It's pretty good. Last night, they were almost 50%. Defensive rebounds, they're 70% defensive rebounding team. Last night, they were 75%. A&M is not a good defensive rebounding team.
No.
But they also were worse than they typically are. And that's where we said yesterday, this is a big game for Trent Pierce. He's going to have to play big, both literally and physically. Figuratively, literally, and physically.
Both
literally, physically,
all of
figuratively. Every of the Ivleys, he's got to go and play non-passively. And he was great in that game. And one of the things that I thought was another takeaway, Sterling, because it'll kind of lead into Jerome Tang to a degree, but I'll let you finish up the conversation. 3 of the 6 guys of the top 6 in minutes, high school recruits that have been there for 2 or 3 years. And T.O., Trent Pierce, and Anthony Robinson were high school recruits that played big minutes in the game and big moments in the game for Mizzou last night.
And, again, Mark Mitchell, at least second year as well at Mizzou. But Trent Pierce, I keep going back, and we'll finish with him because I think he deserves all the credit. He's been a guy who's been tall but not big. He's been a guy who'd been a tall player, and you're like, yeah, but he's more of like a 3.
He plays like a 6'6" player in a 6'10" body.
Correct.
Yeah.
But last night, that was the most physical I've ever seen him rebounding and even getting downhill. Most confident I've ever seen him on that 3-point attempt late in the game when there was a dude in his grill, and the announcer said it perfectly. He goes, Trent Pierce did not see him at all. Did not phase him. Nothing. To me, Trent Pierce was the MVP of this game. And again, we talked about it ever since him and Jaden Stone came back after the Illinois game. This entire Mizzou offense has been different. And kind of like Kansas, obviously I think Kansas is a much better team still. But we're seeing these two teams start to really round out their roster, their rotation, what they do well. And we've seen them now play different styles of games. We've seen Kansas, for example, play a low-scoring game and win. We've seen him play a high-scoring game and win. We now have seen Missouri go up against a team who's a great three-point shooting team who, on paper, this might have been a really bad matchup where they get blown out by 20 because they're giving up 3 after 3 after 3, like they did against Alabama. But what do? They learned, they adjusted, they won.
1.3 points per possession last night from Mizzou, only 9 turnovers. Pretty awesome night for them. And to your point about MVP at KenPom, Trent Pierce was the MVP of the game with KenPom. 23 points, 15 shots, had 9 rebounds, a couple assists to go along with it. And that great finish on the lob that was like behind him.
Oh, my gosh.
Grabbed it with one hand and then somehow laid it up with only grabbing it with one hand. It was crazy.
It was, the pass from Ant was a little
behind him.
Little behind him.
The commentator was right. He's like, I don't really think that was a good pass. It wasn't. It was a good idea, bad pass. And Trent Pierce being 6'10" with the wingspan that stretches out to next week.
Did it work? It's a great pass.
Great play. Great play. It worked. All right, we'll take a timeout. We'll come back. Unfortunately, Jerome Tang keeps passing the buck to somebody else. We'll talk about that. We'll hear what other coaches sound like, what Jerome Tang sounds like, and how last night felt like the end. Now, I don't think you have a choice. I think now the only choice and strategy for Gene Taylor is rounding up the money after that game, that performance from the team, and the performance from Jerome Tang postgame. We'll talk about that next. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy. We head up until 2 o'clock. We'll talk with Matt Lane coming up at 11 o'clock. KC Sports Network, KC Laboratory Podcast. We'll get into plenty of Chiefs stuff today. DeMarco Murray, reportedly the new running backs coach for the Kansas City Chiefs. We'll talk about free agents we would like to see the Chiefs re-sign and who we would like to see the team let walk. And Royals pitchers, hopefully no walks. No walks this year. No walks. Pitchers and catchers reporting. We'll hear from Matt Quattrero, Sports or Leisure, at the end of the show. Last night felt like the end of the run for K-State and Jerome Tang. In the history of Kansas State basketball, the most 20-point losses at home they have suffered in any season is 3. They now have 3 straight 20-point losses at home under Jerome Tang. 91-62, lost by 29. 95-61, lost by 34. 86-62, lost by 24. 3 straight home games, a combined 87 points that they have lost by.
But isn't it amazing what you can do out of love?
Well, you know what? I don't think K-State fans are loving what they're seeing right now. I don't think there's a whole lot of that going on because they were also wearing bags over their head. Can we find $18.7 million? We don't have dudes. It was a rough night all around for K-State, and for them to show up, or excuse me, not show up, and be behind, 30-11 midway through the first half was like, yeah, they just no-showed. Just no-showed the game again last night. So I want to play the first one after the Iowa State loss on February 1st. We played this at the time. This is Jerome Tang, and the criticism after these comments were there, but this is Jerome Tang after losing by 30 points at home to Iowa State, and him talking about what he feels about his players and his team.
No, I didn't say I was proud of how the game turned out.
No, I didn't mean
Okay.
like that. But just like being proud of the guys, and that's gonna get some backlash for when you see the final score and everything. And just, is there anything you want to expand on there? Just when?
No, I don't. I don't want to expand on it. I just want my guys to know this is not a message for some of it. I can't, and for some of it is this not a message for the fans. This is a message for my players. I love these guys, right? They work really, really hard, right? And this is the team. They chose to come play for this university, for this coaching staff, right? I love these dudes. And if you saw them the last 2 days of practice, you'd have said, man, those okay, they're ready. Problem is that Iowa State is just better, right? And sometimes you guys want there to be something that we could have done differently. You know, they're just better than we are right now.
Proud of his guys, proud of what's going on, not proud of the result. Really worked hard, ready to play. You would have thought they'd have gone out there and played well against Iowa State, but just Iowa State's better. Are they 34 points better? Apparently.
Well, it's a D3 school, so what's he supposed to do?
Yeah,
Iowa State, they have better players, and I wonder who,
34
Iowa
points better.
State's, they're a blue blood, obviously, and no way you can compete with Iowa State.
Yeah, well, Iowa State's good. I mean, I feel like.
No, I know, but I mean, as far as building wise, no chance.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
they're not a peer. They you wouldn't look at them as a peer program if you're Kansas State.
Yeah, of
It's a
course.
blue
Apparently,
blood.
they're blue blood. Yeah,
Yes.
you can't. I mean, yeah, that's like the Yukons and
Right.
the Kansas of the world.
Yeah,
obviously,
that's
you can't
true.
compete with that.
That's true. So that's Jerome Tang, February 1st. Proud of his players because I see what's going on. I know what's happening here, so I'm proud of them. They all wanted to be here. And here is Jerome Tang last night after the loss to Cincinnati.
Hey, I'm gonna honor Christ like I always do. Blessed to do this, but this was embarrassing. These dudes do not deserve to wear this uniform. There will be very few of them in it next year. I'm embarrassed for the university. I'm embarrassed for our fans, our student section. You know, it is just ridiculous. We got practice at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning, and we will get this thing right. I I have no answer and no words. So y'all got 2 questions. So whoever want to ask 2 questions, I'll answer them to the best of my ability right now. But right now, like I'm like pissed, and this is all right. Questions. Yeah, I don't know. I asked the staff this week that same question, and they said that more the opponents. You play. I don't know, because I followed Minnesota last year closely, and they played great on the road and struggled at home. So then they started staying in hotels at home, like treating it like a road game. And so I even talked about, hey, do we need to change that change? But no, none of that crap matter, man. These dudes got to have some. They got some pride, man. They got some pride. It means something to wear a K-State uniform. It means something to put on this purple, man. Our everything this university is about and all that it's been about. Why I love this place, man. They don't love this place, so they don't deserve to be here.
Why? Just what did you make of the student section with paper bags on their heads?
Yeah, I'd wear a paper bag too if I was them. Thanks a lot, fellas. God bless.
All right, so there's Jerome Tang. I hear that, and all I think of is the Tim Robinson meme wearing the hot dog suit going, we're all trying to find the guy who did this. All right, we're really searching as the person who's really responsible for what's going on in the program currently. And I'll tell you what, I'm leading the charge. I'm leading this investigation. We're going to find who's the problem around here because we are looking.
Well,
we're going to come to the conclusion as to whose fault this is.
It's not like he's the guy that brings the players in.
No.
He's just the coach. It's not like he's the guy that also recruits them and brings them in.
No.
I will say this because I think I might be a little bit out on an island here. I respect that a lot from Jerome. I actually thought finally we saw him get pissed and show fire. I know some of the players are going to crumble, but at some point his proud and I love these guys and they're working hard. That's not working, man. It's not working. So at some point, if they're not going to work hard and you've been saving their ass for game after game as you've seen zero hustle from them, at some point, just say, you know what? I will be honest. These guys, most of them, will not be back next year. These guys are not good enough to wear the jersey right now. If they're not going to hustle for this university, I don't care. I'm going to throw them under the bus. Is it my fault? I would have liked to see a little more accountability from Jerome.
We didn't hear
Obviously, would have loved to hear some more accountability. But hey, I'll say this. At the end of the day, that was my best Eric Bieniemy there.
There you go.
I appreciate him actually showing something. Now, this is also what you do when you know you're about to get fired. Bruce Weber did it when he started taking everyone down, said you can't come here and you can't win, all of that. We're getting into Bruce Weber territory now with Tang as far as lashing out. But at least we saw something from Jerome. At least we saw some ability to say, you know what? These dudes don't deserve it. I'd be rocking a bag too. Because you know what's? At least finally we hear something rather than, I'm proud of these guys. We're going to turn it around. We'll be fine.
I would say, then when's the next step of him actually saying, this is my fault? So if he went from I'm proud of the players to now the players are the problem and I'm embarrassed because these guys don't deserve to wear the jersey, how many games will it take for him to go, yeah, this ain't good enough as a coach. I'm not doing my job as a coach. I'm letting the fans are wearing a bag on their head, and I agree they should be because I'm not doing what I need to do as the coach of the program. It's these guys don't deserve to wear the jerseys. They're your players that you brought in. And I would say, my question with that is also I'm not sure what he accomplished with that. There's no way he still has the locker room now the next day while also not gaining any favor with fans or anybody else. In fact, it's being viewed the exact opposite of that. I don't know what the strategy and what he accomplished from that, and I don't know how you ever recover with the locker room when they go out there and lose and you hear the coach say, well, it's everybody else's fault.
Well, dog, if the
mine.
players crumble, that's on them. They're not mentally tough. At some point, you
But
have
who
to
brought
realize.
them in?
No, I agree. But at some point, you're getting paid. This is now a job. You're no longer. I get it. You're
Jerome's getting paid a lot more.
Oh, no, again, I'm not arguing that, but I'm saying if you are a guy getting paid on this team and you crumble because your coach called you out for basically being soft and not having any pride, prove him wrong. Prove him wrong. I mean, at some point, you're an adult. You got criticized by your boss.
But I would, but also you got criticized by your boss. But I think they're also adults that understand, like, there's criticism to go around everywhere, and an individual player may feel like, I'm busting my ass, and this is going on or that's going on. You know, there are plenty of people in the workspace that are like, well, yeah, this is happening, but it's kind of like the leadership over
I
there
was
is
gonna say, it's hard
kind
to
of the issue there.
take criticism from your boss when you know your boss is getting fired.
Or when your boss is not criticizing himself.
No, I
Or not
sure.
taking any responsibility for it himself.
He says in the NBA all the time,
Yeah.
though. I mean, again, this is basically what it is. I'm not trying to say that these guys are
Is it
30-year-olds.
criticism management?
Criticism manager. But like you will see NBA coaches talk about how this guy wasn't good enough or this was soft or all this stuff.
I'm totally
and now,
fine with that.
And now you're getting paid at some point. That comes with the territory. If you're getting paid and you're not going out and showing any effort and getting blown out at home by 29 to Cincinnati, I get it. This K-State team's not very good. I get the coaching's been bad, but you got to have pride. You're getting blown out by 29 to Cincinnati. I think these are relatively similarly talented teams. Dude, that's just
the reason,
as a player, have some pride.
I don't disagree. The players have to have pride. Everybody has to have pride there. I'm just trying to figure out what Jerome Tang accomplished besides trying to say, yeah, I'm just as pissed as you guys are at them. You guys are right. This is embarrassing. They don't deserve to wear the jersey. I deserve to be the coach. I'm good because
Sure.
they don't love this place like I love this place. Okay, well, love only gets you so far and how much you love K-State. It's great if you're winning and you endear yourself to the fan base, but it comes off as just hollow if it's like, I love coaching here. Yeah, I know, but it's not good enough. So you can love coaching. Great. Be in Manhattan and coach high school basketball. If you love being around there and coaching, that's great. You can't be the head coach of the Kansas State basketball team when your team is performing like this and heading in the wrong direction, and it's somebody else's fault along the way. That was Bruce Weber. It was everybody's fault except Bruce Weber's.
I also think it's fitting that we've heard him talk about how he's making an impact in these players' lives off the court. And then he comes back after that loss and says that
Get out of here.
get out of here,
Essentially.
that they have no pride.
You're not
So
going
that
to be
means
playing here
that-
next year anyway.
And I think it takes away from even his coaching that the man that he presents himself as, he's not even making an impact off the court.
Well, and I think that, again, I go back to I'm not sure what the strategy was here, because in a previous life in broadcasting, we had an intern at our station that played football at the University of Louisville. And it was the year after Bobby Petrino had been fired. We, had him in. He was, interning. And so we're just like, hey, so, what happened? How did the season just go? You guys were beating Florida State at home. You lose that game in a crazy ending, and then you just get destroyed. And what happened was they had the lead, and all they had to do was run the football. And Bobby Petrino called a passing play and was intercepted. And Florida State then had a huge run, and the game was over. Florida State somehow won that game. He said after the game was over, Bobby came into the locker room and yelled at everybody and said, it's your fault. You're the reason why we lost this game. You didn't play this. You didn't do that. And they're like, you called a freaking passing play. Yeah, should he have thrown it? No. All we had to do was run the football. You get no response. You're taking no accountability. And the locker room just said, middle finger, bleep you. Bleep you. We'll do what we got to do here individually, but I'm not playing for that guy. And they got destroyed every game the rest of the way. And he was like, the whole locker room just sort of quit because they couldn't believe as a team because they didn't believe in the dude that was there trying to lead them, because he came in and it was once, all it took was him saying, your fault. Your fault. We lost this game. Not mine. Your fault. And he even said that, not my fault. This ain't on me. This is on you. He was like, the players are just sitting there going, what in the hell?
Well, you have to know your team. I think some guys handle that. I think some guys
agree.
responded that, like, again, there's some guys.
And it also might be like they may not have liked him anyway.
Yeah,
the head coach anyway.
I've always gone back
Probably
to that.
safe bet.
Yes.
I've always gone to that too. Is if you're that, again, you can all realize that it's a multifaceted approach. If you're a player and a coach calls you out and you can't handle it and you crumble, at some point, again, if it's every single time your coach is a bleep, then yeah, I get it. But this is the one time we've seen Jerome do this, at least in public setting. We have no idea behind closed doors if he's been doing this the entire time, and he's just been a facade. But
yeah, here's the let's play the Kenny Dillingham quote. Because there's also the Wes Miller quote after the West Virginia game when he went to the fans that were there and apologized and said, "This is on me. Nobody's more frustrated than I am. This is my fault. I'm taking responsibility for it." Arizona State played in the college football playoff.
yeah,
And then last year started 4-2, and they got destroyed by Utah. This is Kenny Dillingham. So after the game was over, he said, "We got outcoached." Then his press conference a couple days later that they had the weekly press conference, he was asked, "Well, what do you mean by outcoached?" Here's his answer.
Every time we lose, we get outcoached because we don't have a GM, right? So me personally, every loss that we have, I'm responsible for every single person in this organization. So it doesn't matter if we miss a tackle or if there's a bad scheme or if they get us schematically. It's outcoached. Like, that's how I view it, is the extreme ownership of I have brought in every single person into this organization. So if we miss a tackle or if we don't make a play or if we have a bad scheme or something like that, that all falls on me. So maybe outcoached isn't always the perfect term, but at the end of the day, everything always falls on me. So when we have failures or we don't hit an expectation for a multitude of reasons, it's my fault. That's what I mean by outcoached, is there's nowhere else to, like, who else do I look at? Everybody's here because of me, right? Which means everything falls on me, and it should. Like, every bad thing ever said about this program should fall directly on me, not our players, because I brought them here. It's our job to put them in the best position to succeed. And that 100% is on me. So that's what I mean by when I say that.
The next week, they went out and beat Texas Tech.
it's a great answer, by the way.
Yeah. The next week, his team went out and beat Texas Tech. Tech's only loss in conference and until the college football playoff was that next week after Kenny Dillingham offered that of, "No, we lost by 30 points to Utah, and it's my fault. We didn't make a tackle, my fault. We got outcoached, my fault. We didn't make the play, my fault. I brought everybody in here, so I'm responsible for everything that happens on the field and with the players." Everybody that's hired at K-State for the basketball program and every player that's wearing the jersey was brought in by Jerome Tang. And yet, those players don't deserve to wear the uniform. You're the one that picked them and brought them in. And this isn't a one-time thing.
Yeah.
This is a trend in the wrong direction. I think it was the wrong tone. You can be frustrated with the players and say, it's embarrassing. They don't deserve to wear the uniform. But I don't really deserve to be the coach right now in the way that I'm coaching and this team is playing because they're not responding for some reason to me, and that's on me. That's my fault. Why did we get outscored by 20-something points in the first 10 minutes? Why did we score 11 points and give up 30 in the first half of the first half? I got to figure that out and look in the mirror. Instead, it was, well, a lot of these guys aren't going to be here next year anyway. Yeah, but a lot of the guys on the sideline may not be there next year either, wearing the purple. You might have pride in that, but got to win some games too. That was it went from I'm proud of these guys to now they're the issue. He got criticized when he said I'm proud of them, and then he went and said, oh, well, no. What I mean is they suck. So I know people were coming after me when I said I was proud of them. I'm not proud of them anymore. That was 11 days ago. The pride has been lost. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. More Zone next. All right, man, if you're out there and you happen to be suffering from erectile dysfunction, it's 2026 now. How long has this been going on? Maybe it happened one time, you laughed it off, no big deal. A couple times, all right, maybe there's something going on, but all good. We'll figure it out. until, it gets to the point to where it can cause depression and arguments and breakups and contribute to divorce, and the significant other oftentimes they think it's their fault. There are many different things that can cause that condition, and you need to figure out what's going on. Heartland Men's Health can help. Maybe you've tried the pills or the herbals and they have failed. Well, Heartland Men's Health treatments work when that happens. In fact, they have treatments with success rates well over 90%. Heartland Men's Health successfully treating men in the Kansas City area. Simply schedule a consult with Heartland Men's Health today. Your initial visit, it's only $99. That includes a medical consult with a licensed medical provider, a T and PSA test, and if medically advised, you get a test dose. And if the test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit, it's free. If it does, there you go. They have an expert staff with 3 locations to serve you: Overland Park, Independence between Blue Springs and Lee Summit, and North Kansas City. Call them today at 844-447-6600. Tell them you heard about it right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB, 844-447-6600, or visit heartlandmenshealth.com.
Matt Lane of KCSN is brought to you by Dick Ray Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling. Are you planning to spend money on a new AC or furnace repair this year? Dick Ray can help. Show us a 2025 HVAC repair invoice from any company, and we'll credit that amount towards a new system up to $2,500. Call 913-DICK-RAY or go to dickray.com for details.
All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you. Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy. Let's talk to our man from KC Sports Network, KC Laboratory Podcast, Matt Lane, joining us here in the zone on this Thursday. Matty, what's up, brother? How are you?
Listen, we're doing pretty good today. We got some good weather going on out here.
Nice.
It's been nice after a little bit of snow the past couple weeks, so we're feeling pretty good. And we're ready to transition entirely to the NFL draft, away from a regular season that I think we should all just pretend never happened.
That would be nice. We are officially in the off season, so it is now officially last season. Okay, now that we can say last, we don't have to say last season in talking about 2024. It's last season, all right? And we can now move on to what the off season will be, that officially got underway on Monday. And a couple of weeks, we'll see or like a week from now will be the franchise tag. We'll see which players get tagged. 3 weeks from today, or 3 weeks away from the legal tampering period, otherwise known as just negotiating. So yeah, we're right around the corner from all of those things. Matt, let's start with this. DeMarco Murray is reportedly going to be hired by the Kansas City Chiefs as a running back coach. Does not have crossed paths with Andy Reid before, so this is going outside of the tree. He is going the college ranks, but he's going the college ranks of somebody that has coached running backs and played running backs. Chad O'Shea, Eric Bieniemy. My question to you, Matt, is putting DeMarco Murray in the entire group. Do the new coaches that we've seen, does that indicate to you that there is going to be a change or upgrade in scheme/personnel this offseason? Or it's just they're hiring coaches and it doesn't lead you to believe one way or another?
I think at this point, I'm going to have to go with it. Doesn't lead me strong to believe one way or the other. I like the coach hires. I think they did a good job, like bringing in new guys, bringing in a guy that has coached running backs before, a wide receiver coach that has familiarity with coaching a lot of different wide receivers, some guys that have seen different schemes and different styles and just kind of know how to excel at the NFL level. So I like the hires. I think they make sense. I don't know if on the surface, though, any of these new coaches scream, hey, this is a guy bringing in a significant schematic change, right? You're dealing with a college running back coach who worked under air raid head coaches or offensive coordinators, worked under these super spread systems at Oklahoma, had 4 different offensive coordinators and offensive systems while he was there in DeMarco Murray. Chad O'Shea's been part of a couple different staffs, but I wouldn't say he was ever kind of your lead guy. So I like the hires, think they're good. I think it will make the team better. I don't know if it necessarily indicates, though, any significant scheme change, which was probably always going to have to come from Andy Reid anyway.
Is there, and I'll throw this in there, not that I agree or disagree, but just adding into the question, is there maybe more hope that he would do that if he is willing to go and hire outside of the tree and the coaches he's comfortable with? Does that give you hope that maybe he is willing to adjust and add some new things in that he hasn't done in a couple of years, that it won't just be this is our scheme, this is what we do? Going outside the tree for those particular coaches, does that give you hope that he's willing to then take the different suggestions that may be there about where the next iteration of this offense can go?
Yeah, I think going outside the tree at the very least shows that Andy's being open to having voices that have seen it done a different way, right? This isn't a scheme thing now. It's just, hey, you have now gotten DeMarco Murray in here who has played on multiple NFL coaching staffs in different systems and now has coached under a couple different systems and teams that have had success. Got Chad O'Shea that's seen success with the Patriots, with the Vikings, a little bit here and there with the Browns. You have guys that are not under Andy's kind of umbrella that have seen success, have seen what it takes to be good at the NFL or collegiate level. So they're at least going to be coming in with these ideas on, again, not scheme related, but preparation, ideology, technique, stuff like that they know how it works. So we will see if that translates to the scheme side. But again, at the very least, he is open to bring in guys that have seen it work outside of his umbrella, which is something that he essentially has not done since he got to Kansas City.
Visiting with Matt Lane, KC Sports Network, KC Laboratory Podcast. This offseason, as now we're entering that, and we see, the free agents, and we'll find out if there's a franchise tag for Kenneth Walker, if they get something done with him and he's brought back. It seems like they're very differing opinions. I think around here, most people expect Kenneth Walker to re-sign in Seattle. Soren on his on the afternoon show on Monday, he does the 2-minute drill, and he had somebody on from Seattle, and it was like, well, they're going to bring Kenneth Walker back, and he was like, well, I don't know. And he's like, I'm not so sure that they're going to re-sign Kenneth Walker here in Seattle. Just about, you got to figure out where you're going to allocate resources, and they may feel confident that Charbonnet post ACL and allocate some of those running back resources somewhere else, and also, do they believe Kenneth Walker is the guy he was in the postseason, or is he the guy he's been the first, number of years in Seattle that hasn't necessarily put it together? Was this a great run and he goes back to being a guy that sort of is frustrating at times? Or is this now a great run that catapults him into being one of the best running backs? So he wasn't exactly convinced that Seattle was going to re-sign Kenneth Walker. So we'll find out as things go on with who's franchise and things like that. But as they approach offseason, and moves that need to be made, and there are a lot of different ways this team can go. If there is a focus one side or the other, that Brett Veach typically does that. Defensive overhaul from 21 to 22. Offensive line overhaul from 20 to 21. They 20 to 21 offensive line overhaul, I should say. And then defensive overhaul after the Cincinnati Bengals loss. Is there a focus you'd like Brett Veach to have if it has to be offense or defense? Is there a focus in terms of there needs to be an overhaul here, and this is what I'd like to see Brett Veach maybe throw some numbers at?
I think for me it would land at the defensive line, or just like the defensive front seven in general, is especially in free agency, where I think I would want to see them start with the focus, right? Maybe get the biggest free agent signing is somewhere along the defensive line, maybe even try to find another guy at defensive tackle, a defensive end, linebacker even, that comes in at a cheaper deal, but they can break into your rotation. Then you still have some draft capital you can use in that front seven. I just think that's where they need the overall most talent to turn over, and it doesn't necessarily have to be all game changers. I do, like I said, I would hope that they spend their biggest chunk of money in free agency on a defensive lineman. They can get after the passer a little bit, because they do need somebody in that mold. But outside that, I think they just need to continue to flood it with a little bit more, I guess, depth, but also depth in terms of guys that can come in and play a role. So they need the most guys into those spots. Offensively, they need skill players. They really do. But I think more so than needing bodies at running back or tight end or wide receiver, they need guys. It's not so much the volume. It's more of finding the one or two right guys to plug in there. Mm-hmm. So I think you can be a little bit more specific and pointed in your approach to that side of the ball, whereas defensively, I think they just need to throw bodies into that front seven room.
Yeah, I think because, we don't know what the future is going to be with Leo Chenal. In terms of front seven. And the defensive line, I can't imagine Minihue will be back. Pennell, Noddy, we'll see what that is. I can't imagine Mike Dana will be back, as he's $11 million cap hit or a $2 million dead cap hit. So you save $9 million right there. And with the resources that they don't necessarily have, are you going to restructure that contract and have him around for 2 more years, or just simply say, good run, you got some pretty decent money there, Dana, $13 million guaranteed in this contract, and but it's time to move on. The numbers that need to be thrown at that spot, I think that's a great place to start, because they are going to have a lot of openings there. And my philosophy on the defensive line has been, and especially will continue to be this offseason, Matt, for the Chiefs, is if Brett Veach and Andy Reid and Steve Spagnuolo and Joe Cullen sit back and go, I think we're good, we got enough at defensive line, you should probably add one more. That's my philosophy. Once you feel like you're good with the numbers of defensive line, add one more, just in case.
Yeah, no, they definitely need, like you were talking about, they have a lot of guys that are turning over, and even guys that are still on the roster. You kind of know what you're getting out of a lot of them, and it hasn't been, I think, as good as you would hoped. So just getting extra bodies in there, and, I don't know if we'd mentioned it here too, but like Drew Tranquil's been good for the Chiefs now, but is this a time where a team that is getting a little bit tight in their cap situation, will they maybe make a move from there to save a little bit of extra money? And where do you want to replace now 2 linebackers next to Nick Bolton? They have a lot of decisions to make, I think, there in that front 7, on top of already needing more talent. So, again, I know a lot of Chiefs fans out there want to see running backs, receivers, tight ends. Some people really want more offensive line help at the right tackle spot, and I get all that. But I think if we're talking about what position group or which side of the ball is going to get the most new players added, it makes the most sense to be that defensive line and maybe even creeping back into the linebacker room in terms of a big, large overhaul and influx of new players. Because just the guys they have, weren't working very well last year. And 2, if we look around the NFL at the other really good defenses, they have different body types than what the Chiefs are doing. And this isn't a giant Steve Spagnuolo's preferred edge rusher type thing. It's just, in general, the Chiefs have a lot more bigger-bodied guys that are a little bit stiffer. They have a little bit less versatility than what you're seeing from the Patriots, the Denver Broncos, the Seattle Seahawks. The Houston Texans are a different animal, but like those other teams, they do more things with that defensive line group, with their linebackers, than what I think the Chiefs are allowed to do given the talent and the body types they have there. So seeing a turnover there in the direction the NFL is currently going defensively wouldn't shock me at all.
Visiting with Matt Lane, KC Sports Network, KC Laboratory Podcast. If they're going to sign a defensive lineman to decent money in the offseason, because they like to have guys in place before ultimately the draft comes, which, Brett Veach ultimately gives him an opportunity to go and draft best player available. If they are going to day one free agency spend some money on the D-line, would you like the focus to be interior or go find an edge and spend that money?
I think I would lean towards edge right now. I just think there's a few more guys that, if we're talking about a bigger signing, that are a little bit younger, that you can maybe get a couple extra years out of. So it would make sense for the Chiefs in their situation to sign somebody to a 3 or 4 year deal. And if I'm looking at that range, I think you'll have a few more options at the edge spot. So I would lean on the edge for the defense right now. I think you could probably go with a lower end deal and just get a quality role player or starter at defensive tackle for a lot less money than you can for edge. It's really hard to find an edge player for under $5-6 million that can even really be worth playing snaps. And I think you can get that at D tackle. So you can probably go cheaper on the interior while spending your big splash on the outside on somebody like Boye Mafe, who I think is going to be super popular for Chiefs fans to want, given the connected attempted trade rumors at the trade deadline for him.
Yeah, no doubt about that. I've got my eye on a couple of interior defensive linemen. I don't know what all it would cost for them, but I'd really like to see them go and get John Franklin Myers from the Broncos. I don't know if that's going to be priced out. And he's 29, and the Chiefs typically in free agency don't go and grab guys that are over 27 or 28, so that might lean towards more Logan Hall from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who's getting ready to turn 26. But I like John Franklin Myers, and if Sheldon Rankins is healthy, he was really, really good for the Texans that took a chance on him this year and that he would be healthy, and he was, and so that was a good signing by them. There's a couple of guys out there that I would like to see them bring in that won't necessarily break the bank like a Jalen Phillips if you got to go and spend in the offseason on an edge player like that. And maybe that's the move. They go and spend on Jalen Phillips, and then they go, Roy Lopez or somebody like that. I'm trying to think of free agent interior defensive linemen that are out there that may not be as much as like a John Franklin Myers that's there. But I do wonder, though, Matt, would the Chiefs look at it and say, okay, so how this connects to the draft? They got the number 9 pick. So if they go and spend heavy in interior defensive line, does that indicate to you, okay, then they're going to have to do what it takes to get an edge rusher at number 9? Or if they go like Jalen Phillips or something like that, or Khalil Mack even on a 1-year deal on first day of free agency, does that maybe lead you to believe that, okay, they may go wide receiver, or maybe Peter Woods, who will dominate the combine, and everybody will be talking about him moving up to the top 15 and maybe top 10 when the combine's over. Maybe that's the route they go, and they attack the interior at number 9 while the edge in free agency.
Yes, I think the Chiefs are in an interesting spot. At pick 9, regardless of what they do in free agency, besides if they spend huge money on a running back, and then I think you can go ahead and cross Jeremiah Love off your list if they also pay a running back a lot of money. But besides that, I I think they could spend on a position free agency and still draft that same position group at pick 9. I don't think that there's not really a position outside of running back where I think that if they spend big money on it, that completely crosses it off their list. I mean, maybe, and I think this would surprise us all, but maybe if they go out and make a splashy sign at wide receiver for someone like an Alec Pierce, you could cross wide receiver off in round 1 as well.
Yeah.
But if we're talking just defensive line, I think that they could sign a Jalen Phillips in free agency and then come back and, Reuben Bain's available or, whoever's available at pick 9. I don't think that stops you from taking him there if that's the best player you have. And then if you spin it even forward, pick 40, that's a lot closer to pick 32 than they're used to picking in the second round, right? They're kind of drafting from the same player pool at pick 40 that they're typically picking from at the end of round 1. So I don't know if they have to get a defensive lineman or have to insert any position at pick 9. They should feel pretty solid about the guys that they are going to have available at pick 40. And I really have to come around on liking this edge class, especially in that early second round range.
Okay, like a Mesidor, a Zion Young, around guys like that. Or is Mesidor going to move into the first round after the combine? Or Zion? That's the thing. As combine happens, Matt, you know this. The draft season takes place, and sometimes those numbers and the draft profile looks a lot nicer after they work out in underwear. Sometimes.
No, absolutely. So yeah, well, that's the thing is so there's a couple different types of rushers in this class, but that those guys, Mesidor, Zion Young, I think both those guys are looking at somewhere in the latter third of the first round to the first third of the second round. So that puts you right squarely in that probably 20 to 40 range for both of those guys. If the Chiefs are willing to go a little bit lighter, you have the R. Mason Thomases of the world. You have other guys like Dave Yakis, I know from Illinois, is getting a lot of attention now. Derek Moore out of Michigan. There's a handful of edges that I think will be very good. They're going to go in round 2, and none of them are going to be, a team's number 1 pass rusher, right? They're not going top 10. You're not coming in and expecting them to be Myles Garrett or a Micah Parsons, but to be part of a rotation that when you get them good one-on-one looks, they can provide a better pass rush than Charles Omenihu or Mike Dana have been. I think there's quite a few of those guys that should be available around that pick. We're coming off of the Super Bowl where Derek Hall, who I believe was picked 38 for the Seattle Seahawks, had a case to at least be on the podium for MVP voting, right? And he's a reason that they're okay with Boye Mafe going off in free agency here this upcoming year, and that was pick 38. So I just think you're going to have a lot of guys in that mold that could be available for them at pick 40, so you might not have to reach or might go out of your way at pick 9 to get one of those guys. Or same thing goes for the defensive tackle position as well for me.
Yeah, it's interesting. We're talking about pick 40 and how many years, Matt, are we I'd really like to see them get a few more picks. So can you trade down from 32 to 38, 39, 40, something like that, get an extra picks? That would be their first pick of that draft is where the Chiefs will have their second pick of the draft there. And I've sort of, I know that there's debate on where they should go at number 9, but I've become pretty secure and confident in that, no matter what happens at number 9, the Chiefs are going to get one of the best defensive linemen in the draft or one of the best tackles in the draft or one of the best wide receivers in the draft. They're going to come away from that. They don't have to, I would like David Bailey or Reuben Bain to be there. My choice at wide receiver is Jordan Tyson. I'm becoming more and more obsessed with him. I think he's an absolute star. I know there's injury concerns, but I'm not as concerned of injuries with him moving forward, but I think he'd be one of the best wide receivers in the AFC immediately. And even if it's offensive tackle, you say, all right, you've got Josh Simmons and this guy for the next 4 or 5 years. They're going to be bookend offensive tackles, and you protect Patrick Mahomes a little bit more. I'm more comfortable in that, however the draft ends up from, picks 1 to 8, the Chiefs are going to end Caleb Downs too, or they'll get the best safety. The Chiefs are going to end up with a really good football player that oftentimes the draft had to break a certain way for them to have that opportunity late in the first round, like a Josh Simmons, who, if he wasn't hurt, might have been playing on Sunday night in place of Will Campbell and for the New England Patriots. Instead, he's a Kansas City Chief.
Yeah, and I think that's the biggest thing about this, right? It's going to be pretty hard at pick 9 to come away from this and be, ultimately upset with what the Chiefs do. I know we can all have quibbles about positional value at that spot. I'm not the biggest fan of going offensive tackle there. Like, I think they've spent enough resources there, and it's costing the rest of the team. Like, I'm not the biggest fan of tackle, but I can at least say, oh, okay, well, they got themselves a top 10-ish talent at offensive tackle. It's hard to be too angry at that, even if I would have went a different direction. So, like, this is one of the few times where, like, hey, you're going to probably leave the first round of this draft feeling pretty good as a Chiefs fan. It might not be your ideal pick, but you're going to come away from it feeling pretty darn good about it.
Yep.
And then, again, that comes around real fast on day 2 of the draft in a way that when we're sitting there at round 1 and we're all kind of hoping somebody falls and the guy we want isn't there besides like the Josh Simmons, but it feels like you're kind of drafting of the whoever's left at the end of round 1. Well, now on day 2 of the draft, you might still get that exact same caliber of player, only you're now choosing the first guy out of that bucket instead of trying to get the leftovers, if that makes sense. So I think this draft is going to leave Chiefs fans feeling a lot more excited about it than they have in some of the recent drafts where it feels like they're kind of scrambling to get their best value. Again, Josh Simmons notwithstanding, because I think everybody unanimously loved that pick outside of the injury concern.
Matt Lane is our guest. I was going to do this at the end as a little quick question, but it leads into the draft, and then I want to get into your thoughts on Trent McDuffie. But do you have an early draft crush that you're liking, whether that's mid-rounds, day 3, day 2, maybe day 1 that you'd like to see, the Chiefs, get at number 9, but are you crushing on anybody as of February 12th?
Oh, so many. Who's the guy I watched most recently, right? But no, the number one. I'll stick. We got plenty of time to talk draft, so we'll just stick right at the top. I think that pick 9 is going to be the most common talking point, and Jeremiah Love's my number 1 rated player in this draft class. I like him. Ruben Bain, I think, is clearly my edge 1. I love how he plays, so he's obviously a good player. But if I had to say I'm like a draft crush right now, it's Mekhi Lemon, the wide receiver out of USC. I'm a big Lemon guy, and it's just when I look at his profile compared to the size, not physical profile, but like analytical profile, how he's used on the field, his stuff has so much overlap with your Jackson Smith-Njigbas, with your Puka Nakuas, with your Amon-Ra St. Browns, all these receivers that are dominating the NFL right now, all these guys that are productive. His like analytical profile, how he's used in college matches so well with all of those guys, and then you watch him play, and he plays so much bigger than the size. He's very good route runner, all these things. He just checks all these boxes that I think he's going to be a good NFL player. And then when I spin it forward to the Chiefs, oh, you're telling me I get one of the best yards after catch players in the coming out of this draft class with Lemon, and you're telling me I get a guy that can handle a high volume when the Chiefs maybe won't be without Travis Kelce in the next year or two, maybe won't be without Rashee Rice in the next year or two. Who are we funneling 100-plus targets to? I think Lemon makes a lot of sense in a role for this Chiefs style of offense and where their roster might be heading as early as the 2027 season.
I don't know, Matt. I feel like Brett Veach has already drafted enough Lemons in his career. That was dumb. I'd be totally fine with Lemon. I feel like those wide receivers are kind of like beauty is in the eye of the beholder. I'm not in, by the way, on Carnell Tate. I'm out on Tate. I just don't want a guy that it's like, hey, this guy's going to be a deep threat. Oh, cool. It's the archetype yet again, although he's 6'3", almost 200. But while he's 6'3", 200, he didn't really want all that smoke from Miami in the playoffs and wanting to be all physical. And maybe he was thinking about his draft prospects instead of going over the middle. I just kind of turned off by that, where I think Mekhi Lemon and Jordan Tyson are like, bring it. I'll catch it. You're going to hit me? Let's do it. And Tyson's catch radius is really what I become enamored with. Is I would like to see the Chiefs have somebody that in the muck over the middle when they're playing the 2 deep and forcing everything down there, that when you're throwing to sort of areas instead of the speed that outruns guys and over routes when you're playing the cover 1 or the single high safety that the Chiefs have sort of drafted their receivers to beat, that we're seeing more of the bigger bodied guys that can make the catches in that area. Amon-Ra still does that as well, but that's where I become enamored with Jordan Tyson, just watching him and his catch radius and going up and making catches that are like, okay, yeah, there's not a Chiefs player that I think is going to do that. Even Rashee Rice at times that I'm pretty confident Jordan Tyson would do that. I'd be fine with Lemon. I'm just hoping the Chiefs have a different body type receiver that they go and get as opposed to a smaller guy. But I'm with you. Mekhi Lemon doesn't necessarily play like a 5'11" receiver.
Yeah, and I like all 3 receivers as well. I think I get the Carnell Tate concerns. Like, he's a tricky one because I think he's the easiest to just put on this team and drop him in the offense and say, hey, look, nothing changes. he is going to go run the Tyquan Thornton / Hollywood Brown / Justin Watson routes. He's not going to eat into anybody else's targets, and he's going to give you a body type and a skill set that you don't have with anybody else on there. So, like, it's a very easy plug and play. However, we've not really seen Andy Reid utilize that type of player heavily enough to say, oh, he's definitely going to get the volume you need out of pick 9. And I would get not worried, but, like, my biggest concern is, okay, let's say Rashee Rice and Travis Kelce move on next year, and there's a big hypothetical. Where's the volume going? I don't think Tate or Xavier Worthy are high volume targets.
Yep.
They're explosive players. They're guys you get the ball in their hands a couple times in the game to see what shakes loose, but not guys that are going to get to 100+ targets. Who is that guy if you don't trust Rashee Rice long term because of all the off-field stuff and Travis Kelce retires? So, like, I do have a small hesitation with Tate from that aspect, even though I do think his fit fits well. I'm a fan of all 3 receivers. I think that's probably the position. If I had to say the position that I'm most excited for them to take at 9, it might be wide receiver for me, even though I do like Love and I like some of those edge guys at the top of the class.
Matt Lane is our guest. Okay, so I've talked about this. I'm labeling this as the Trent McDuffie conundrum and what they do with him, because I think everybody can sort of come to the agreement, Matt, that Trent McDuffie's best position is in the slot. He's an all-pro slot. He's a really good outside corner. He's not, Gonzalez or Singletary or Stingley, I should say, as outside, corners. He's good, though. He struggles at times against bigger dudes. But he's one of the best slot corners in the league. The conundrum to me is if you sign him, he's going to want top money, and then you'll be playing him, in my opinion, sort of out of position on the outside because you're paying him outside corner money, as opposed to, no, let's move him inside, but you're not going to pay him slot corner money because he's not going to just settle for slot corner money. It's a difficult decision in how they sort of thread that needle. How do you sign him and yet get the most out of Trent McDuffie, which to me is in the slot. And we're seeing that with all these different teams that are moving some of their best versatile defenders in the slot. Heck, Caleb Downs might be a top 10 pick, and I feel like McDuffie could be that, sort of player for the Kansas City Chiefs in the slot. What would you do with Trent McDuffie is question 1. Question 2 is, what do you think the Chiefs will do with Trent McDuffie?
I get Steve Spagnuolo to get down into a room and sit there with the film pulled up, and I have Trent McDuffie come in there because I think they both need to watch this, and we watch the Super Bowl. And we say, okay, Trent, in fact, do we want him to be Devin Witherspoon, or do we want him to be Tariq Woolen? I get body type is different than Woolen, I understand.
Love
but I'm saying, who do you want to be of those two guys? Who do you think impacted that game more? Do you think Witherspoon or Woolen had a bigger impact on what the Seahawks were able to do? Okay, and then you take your answer from that, and then I think that's kind of what you have to roll with. If he says, or Spag says, because it could be a coach decision too, we would rather have the outside corner that we put out there. It allows us to call all the different coverages that we want. Everything, we can do whatever we want because we trust our two, assuming they trust the other outside corner as well. We trust both of our outside corners. We can play any version of man, single high, two high, whatever we want to play because he's on the outside. Then so be it. Now you have to determine, is Trent McDuffie worth $28 million per year to play outside corner given the film that we have seen over the past couple of years? And I think that's where it becomes a lot more of a debate. On the other hand, if Spags and McDuffie say, ooh, Witherspoon had a bigger impact in this game, clearly. He meant more to this defense in this game. He allowed them to do more stuff. I want to be that guy because he was clearly the most important part of that secondary. The best player on that secondary for the Seahawks in that game was Devin Witherspoon, and he's playing out of the slot. I would rather do that. And now if you're the Chiefs, okay, maybe the highest paid slot corner is only making low 20s. We can make Trent McDuffie the highest paid slot corner. We'll be the team that resets that market because it doesn't matter to us if he's in the slot or if he's on the outside. That's where he's at his best and clearly makes the biggest impact for this team as much as Sauce Gardner does on the outside for the Colts or the Jets or whoever. So we'll just pay him that. I hope that's where the Chiefs end up, is McDuffie, Spags, and the team all agreeing that he should play in the slot, and that is worth however much money they want to pay him. Everything I've heard ever from Trent McDuffie talk is he's always called himself an outside corner. That's what he played at Washington. That's what he has still said during training camps and stuff. I don't know if he wants to play in the slot full time. I don't know if it's a money thing or a comfort level thing. So I don't have a prediction yet. I'm just interested to watch it play out. But I really hope he buys in on the slot aspect because that's where he makes the most sense to me, and he's obviously the most impactful for this team, as we've seen in that role.
Yeah, I think, yeah, the money is going to be the money no matter where you play him. So if you're going to pay him that money outside, but you pay him as a slot corner, you're going to get the most out of your money there.
Right.
The problem is, I love Quentin Lake for the Rams, who's a safety, but really, that slot guy. And he signed 3 for 38, not 3 for 90. 3 for 38. And there's no world in which Trent McDuffie will sign that. And I get it. I understand it. And I wouldn't expect it from Trent McDuffie either. Do you think the Chiefs will sign him or trade him?
I think he's going to be on the Chiefs at the very least for this next season.
Okay.
I don't think a team is going to come pony up with enough capital to be worth parting with him right now, knowing that they still have to pay him as well. Right? I don't think a team is going to trade what the Chiefs would want to take to trade him away before he signs a new contract. Is there a chance that he signs a contract this year and then gets traded right away, or after this upcoming season? Yeah, that would make a little more sense once he's on the deal, but I don't think a team wants to trade and then have to sign that big of a contract all in one fell swoop.
Matt Lane, KC Sports Network, KC Laboratory Podcast. Matt, you're the man as always. Appreciate it, brother. We'll talk in a couple of weeks.
Awesome. Thank you, man, for having me on.
Absolutely. There's Matt Lane. Great stuff from him. Go watch the lab that they have weekly at KCSN and YouTube and Twitter and everything else. Matt Lane, KC Sports Network. Also read the stuff that he puts out there at KCSN. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back, continue rolling. I loved that part of, okay, let's get in a room with Spags and Veach and Andy, whoever else, and McDuffie, and just watch the Seahawks on defense and say, hey, Trent, would you rather be Devin Witherspoon or Tariq Woolen in this game? Because everybody's talking about Witherspoon. I mean, Woolen probably played well, pretty good. But ain't nobody going, oh my God, did you see Tariq Woolen in the Super Bowl? They went, Devin Witherspoon might have been one of the best players on the field because he was that slot corner that was blitzing and causing havoc and doing a lot of different things, moving them around and not just saying, hey, play outside and leave them alone. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. More Zone next. You know, what I said there with Matty Lane, KC Sports Network, KC Laboratory Podcast, what I was talking about with him in that I'm becoming more and more comfortable in that, pick number 9, because when the Chiefs, lost to the Raiders, the kick goes in, thank you, appreciate you, and they move up to number 9, and they also move up to pick 40 instead of being pick number, 11 and like 43, something like that. When they get those spots, in my mind, and a lot of people is like Bane, Bailey, like, dude, they can get
Battlestar Galactica.
Yes, that's right. Beats, Bears, Battlestar Galactica, Bane, Bailey. They can get one of a stud pass rusher, different body types, but they might be able to get one of those guys. If Reuben Bane's there at 9, oh my God, that'd be amazing, right? And so I kind of get stuck on Bane or Bailey, Bane or Bailey, Bane or Bailey. Maybe Peter Woods, depending on what it looks like. Bane or Bailey. Bane or Bailey, and then come back around at 40 and get Mesidor or Zion or something like that. Like, just throw freaking numbers at it. Or Peter Woods at number 9, Zion at 40. Like, fun stuff like that, right? It's just in my mind. Then you see, like, Cynthia Freeland's mock draft that has Francis at offensive tackle. That plays left tackle. Chiefs have that in Josh Simmons. But if you draft him, one of the best, Dane Burglar feels like some people may view him as a guard. That's a concern. But you're getting a guy that probably you put at right tackle, Simmons at left tackle, and you say, there you go. You got the tackles for Patrick Mahomes the next 4 or 5 years and maybe even longer. Maybe
the Chargers method of, hey,
yes,
we have
Slater
Rashawn
and
Slater,
Alt.
but this is the best
Alt.
tackle, so
Yeah.
we might as well just do this.
Let's go and protect it and this guy. And unfortunately, they had the injuries. But it's one of the reasons why, as it stands right now, I put the Chargers ahead of the Chiefs in terms of their roster today that we talked about, is getting those guys back from injury, having the weapons that are there already with Alad McConkey. Herbert hasn't done it in the postseason. Defense is pretty good, and they're adding in Mike McDaniel. But that's the route they took with the tackles, right? And Harbaugh's running a different offense and running the ball than the Chiefs are. So even if it's that route, or wide receiver, or even Jeremiah Love, that will either make some people happy or piss some people off. You know that you're getting a guy that can be a difference maker. Or Caleb Downs. You know you're getting a guy that could be a difference maker on the field. Like, I'm confident at number 9 that they're going to come away with somebody that's like, hey, Chiefs just got much better adding this guy into the mold. Except for Carnell Tate. And I know people love Carnell Tate. I know there are some people out there that Carnell Tate is their number 1 wide receiver. And what Matt said there is what concerns me about the Chiefs. And what he said, Carnell Tate makes the most sense in terms of plug and play for the Chiefs offense right now. You draft him, and he's not going to take targets away from Rice or maybe Worthy or Kelsey. You'll put him in a Tyquan Thornton role, and then he'll play that. Okay. That's what would bother me. I would rather have Jordan Love than Carnell Tate, and that is probably a hot take to a lot of people. Jake Gutierrez is going to run in
Jordan
here.
Love?
Sorry, Jeremiah Love.
Okay.
Well, I'd rather have Jordan Love as a backup quarterback to Patrick Mahomes than Carnell Tate at wide receiver. That's just me personally. If Mahomes goes down, I'd rather have Jordan Love. Jeremiah Love. Anyway, Jake probably will come in here and strangle me by saying that. I don't know, because he's that vehemently against Jeremiah Love. But point being, Jeremiah Love, to me, hits the ground for the Chiefs and makes them way more dynamic immediately. I think Carnell Tate hits the ground and it's, oh, cool, it's McCole Hardman and Xavier Worthy, a really fast guy that runs deep and is the best deep threat in the draft. And you see him at Ohio State, and Julian Sayin was just like, bleep it, Tate down there somewhere. And he tracks the ball like Andrew Jones and Carlos Beltran. They're going in the Hall of Fame. Tracks the ball like those guys in the outfield. It's just amazing. Wherever the ball is going to land, Carnell Tate's there, and he makes the catch right. And that'll help Patrick Mahomes then, certainly, with tracking the ball. But it just feels like it's very Worthy, McCole, fast guys run deep. That's what Andy likes, and that's how you're going to continue to go against the 2 deep. Well, hold on. They're designing defenses to stop that from you and to keep everything underneath. You've got to counteract that. And to me, Tyson or Lemon, if they go wide receiver, is way more in the mold of somebody that can run the different routes, make the catches, yards after catch. Lemon's 5'11", but he plays much bigger, catches everything thrown his way. He's an Amon-Ra type player. And to me, Jordan Tyson is the best wide receiver in the draft. And the catch radius is Shaq. And somebody to defeat the over-the-middle stuff that teams are making you try to throw it into windows and space and areas to go and get it and catch it and go up and do some of those things. I think Jordan Tyson offers that. I don't think Carnell Tate hits the ground for the Chiefs running, and here's your route tree that you're running. That's what would that's the thing that would be like, all right, so Andy's just refuses to adjust from his mold archetype of receiver, sort of like Spags then takes a defensive end that's great against the run.
Yeah.
Oh, the Chiefs get Carnell Tate at number 9, and at number 40 they get the best run-stopping defensive end in the draft. Like, good God, I'm going to pull my hair out.
I get that, and I'm not going to argue that Carnell Tate feels like a lot of the similarities and the skill set that we've complained about for a while that the Chiefs have drafted, right? Like, it's why I wanted, again, I go back to Ladd McConkey.
Right. We're sort of on the same page of you with Ladd over Xavier and me with Tyson or Lemon over Tate.
And again, we'll find out. Maybe Worthy ends up being a better career than Ladd. We'll 100% find out. There's still a lot of time left for those guys who are very, very young. But I wanted to see a guy who has the route tree and more of a, you want the safety blanket term, that guy. You're right, Carnell Tate's probably not that. But what I go back to is, and I hate doing it.
Do it. Just do it.
Ohio State wide receivers are so safe, man. Ohio State wide receivers have been, it's almost like, what was it, Washington cornerbacks?
Yeah.
Washington cornerback. You draft a Washington cornerback, you're good.
Or an LSU DB. You
An
knew that guy
LSU
was going to be good.
DB.
An Iowa offensive lineman.
Iowa offensive lineman, Missouri backup quarterback.
Missouri, yeah, that's a good point. Missouri, I love that. Missouri backup quarterback. Well done. Nicely done.
And so Ohio State wide receivers fall in that mold, and it's probably a dumb thing to even consider, but when you've had so much success, it's hard to at least completely discredit that they clearly can produce NFL caliber talent at wide receiver.
You're not wrong. I understand that if you're looking at pedigree, that whatever's going on at Ohio State, they know what really good NFL wide receivers look like. Guys that can dominate at the college level and then eventually be drafted and, top 15, top 20 first-round pick. Like, there's no way. Maybe there is a way. I don't know.
If there's a will, there's a way.
Absolutely. The waiting to draft JSN until he got there when the Seahawks took him at, 20? Because it was 20, 21, 22, 23, or was it 21, 22, 23,
He went
24?
20.
So 20, 21,
couldn't believe
22,
it.
23. The JSN was there at number 20. He's a top 10 pick if there's any idea of what he was going to look like in the NFL. Yet at the time, people said, this is what JSN's going to look like in the NFL. That guy is brilliant at every single route. He's got the entire route tree. He doesn't drop the ball. He creates space like somebody we haven't seen in college in a long time. This guy's the number one receiver on the board and is a star. And yet, pick 20 is where he went. I don't know if there's an overcorrection where it's like, no, we're not going to miss on JSN again. We're not going to do that. So therefore, a Tyson or Lemon or Tate, they're all going to be gone by pick 12 or 13. I don't know. And it's not like JSN was drafted last year or something like that. It took a couple of years. But it took DK, bye-bye. JSN's our volume guy. We have enough in him, and we'll piece around him. We'll build the wide receiver room around Jackson Smith and Jigba. We'll bring in Cooper Kupp, trade for Rashid Shaheed, Holt, bring him in, and we'll build around the wide receiver room, starting with our centerpiece of JSN. And it's worked great because he's as good, if not, the best receiver in the league, especially his ability just to find space, get open, create space. It's not easy to do. Looking back, I just don't know how he lasted in number 20 in that particular draft. And then the wide receivers went crazy with that draft.
And then they've continued to do that. I mean, Emeka Ibuka was drafted 19th, and he had a great year last year, 938 yards, 6 touchdowns. Obviously started off really strong. Tapered off a little bit once, Godwin and Evans came back, and there was other emergences down there in Tampa Bay as well. It's just receivers have this, we talk about it now. They had their heyday when it came to free agency a few years back. And then eventually teams go, yeah, that's great and all, but we should draft them early so that way we don't have to pay $30 million a year for these guys. We can get them on rookie contracts. And that's, again, where I didn't – so you said Jake's anti-Jeremiah Love. Again, I think anti is probably a too strong a word for me, but that's, again, where the monetary value is of I would go wide receiver if you can get a guy. Again, it's all about if you get it right.
Yeah.
But if Lemon or Tyson or Tate become even a wide receiver 2 in their first 3 years, like just say they are – well, they do what Ibuka does last year. They have 938 yards and 6 touchdowns. Well, that's $15 million probably saved – monetarily speaking, value-wise, if it's $9 million versus $24 million for a 1,000-yard-ish, 6-touchdown guy, that's in year 1. What's he do year 2?
Yeah.
I mean, to me, I hate doing it, but the positional value matters so much because of what you can then spend. You can get Breece Hall. You're not getting the Breece Hall at wide receiver for $12 million.
No. Nope. And certainly not at defensive end or interior.
All those.
I'm not sure
spots.
if you get Breece Hall for $12 million either.
We'll see. I mean,
it might be 15 or 16.
Yeah, there might be a market overcorrection with running backs to where the market was so depressed a few years ago, where it was like, oh, nobody's paying Saquon Barkley. Nobody's going to pay. Why would you pay? Why would you pay a running back? Running backs, you can't pay a running back. Nobody wants to do something stupid like that. The Eagles, okay, pay the running back. That's fine, dummy.
But even then,
and now it's like I think some of these running backs that could be reserve or running back by committee players will get more money than they got last offseason, like Javonte and Dowdle and Dobbins.
Sure.
I think there will be teams that will overpay for those guys.
Well, I mean, even the
because
Seahawks
it's
had a
swung
rookie
middle.
contract, 2 rookie contract running backs, right? And Walker and Charbonnet.
yeah.
2 rookie contract running backs, right? In the Patriots with Stevenson and Trevion Henderson. So it's not like we can talk about those are good players and we think we think Walker's going to get paid. But also the point still remains, it wasn't like the investment of those guys. Now, those were both second rounder, right for Walker and Charbonnet. And then you had, I forget what Stevenson was. I don't know. What
Stevenson
paid
was a second or
Stevenson.
third. Ramondre, I think, the third rounder comes to mind for Ramondre for some reason.
Let's see where he was. 4th rounder.
Like I said, 4th round is what I'm really thinking.
It must have been the very free. Yeah, 120. So 4th
day
rounder,
3.
and then you had
Henderson early day 2.
early day 2.
Yeah.
So there was draft capital spent high, 3 second rounders and a 4th, but it's not like those guys are getting paid $12+ million a year. At least currently, we think Walker still will be. But as far as on this active Super Bowl team, they weren't highly paid guys.
Well, and I think that's where you get into the wide receiver talk. As you mentioned, wide receivers are becoming so expensive that it's probably better to draft them
Yes.
and not pay for them. And then you get value out of a position that free agency is costing you $30-some-odd million or more. And if you retain that guy, it's costing you that much money to re-sign him. The question is, like, do wide receivers turn out to be like cornerbacks? Although they have a longer lifespan than cornerbacks do. But as a cornerback, like, you draft them, you play them 4 or 5 years, and then do you give them the second contract? Well, the NFL and lifespan and cornerbacks, how long they stay at the top of their game versus how quickly they fall off, would say probably not. Probably don't give the second contract to that first-round cornerback. Wide receivers, you'd be more willing to do that, but it's going to cost you $30-35 million, especially as the salary cap continues to grow and wide receivers get more and more money because it ain't going backwards. Right? It's not going to be like, oh, well, we're not going to pay that much money for a wide receiver anymore. Yeah, you will. Somebody will, which will set the market then, yet again, for somebody else. And so it might be in the best interest of like, okay, so you get a Tyson or a Mekhi Lemon, and you're paying him $8 million a year, whereas if Tyson or Mekhi Lemon were free agents this year, they're probably getting $25 million per year, just as a defensive end as opposed to a running back. Defensive end and paying what Trey Hendrickson or Jalen Phillips might cost as opposed to $8 million a year for the number 9 pick in the draft, 4 years, $31 million, which is roughly what that rookie salary cap scale is going to be for the number 9 pick. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. More Zone next. All right, wrapping up this hour. We'll talk some baseball on the other side of the break. Matt Quattrero talking for the first time in the lead up to the 2026 season. Pitchers and catchers reporting yesterday. We'll also talk about the new rule change in Major League Baseball that was just voted on by the owners, which isn't a rule change. It's just they're saying they should actually enforce the rule that's already on the books. It's funny how we get into some of those things. It's like, no, we need to do this. Let's change this. Well, actually, it's already there. Oh, well, let's just enforce it then. You sure? Yeah, let's vote to enforce a rule that's already on the books.
Hey, I don't make the rules. I just enforce them. But we have to vote on it.
We don't make the rules. We just ignore them until you tell us we need to focus on them. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you. Sterling Holmes, Michael Darcy. An hour from now, we'll play a little sports or leisure.
Fact.
Presented by Johnny's Tavern. Tell you what those categories are and how to play, and certainly know what we are playing for. The Kansas City Royals pitchers and catchers reported to surprise Arizona yesterday, and Matt Quattrero was available to talk with the media members that were there in attendance. And one of the first things they discussed, because it is just pitchers and catchers, but one of the first things that came up was Cole Reagans, his health, but also the health of the overall starting staff for this Kansas City Royals team that did battle some injuries with their starters. Matt Quattrero weighs in on the health of Cole Reagans.
Well, I think that's the first thing that came to mind, is it sent him into the offseason knowing that he could be a normal guy and not have to be concerned with the injuries that mounted up during the season. And I think that just leads him into a good space mentally, so he's not concerned about things.
What does it mean to have him and Bulich and all those guys healthy entering spring training?
Well, pitching wins, and that's, we feel really good about the depth and the quality of our starters. And so for them to be healthy, those are guys we're going to rely on heavily, and to not have to be concerned with where they are and slowing their build up and all those kinds of things. We want them to be as normal as possible.
It's one of the reasons why Cole Reagans turned down the invite for the World Baseball Classic, and thank God he did. I can understand Cole Reagans wanting to pitch in it and say, a couple of years ago wasn't going to get an invite. But, Brady Singer pitched in the World Baseball Classic a couple of years. Well, he didn't pitch. He was on the team a couple of years ago. But Cole Reagans coming off the season that he had, and then, that first question was the confidence that's there with how he ended the year and pitching and being healthy. He could have very easily, Sterling, ended the year healthy and said, okay, I feel good. So now I'm going to go and be a part of a dream to be a part of the World Baseball Classic. This is awesome. I can't believe I even got an invite. Let's do it. I feel good. I feel fine. I feel refreshed, and whatever was going on in 2025 is behind me, and I'll go pitch in the World Baseball Classic. Instead, he's healthy and said, no, this is what's most important, which is a good sign.
Yeah.
Because I do think it was a difficult decision for him to not participate in that.
I think it'd be a very hard decision to make. If you're the team, you love them not playing in it, but you also understand the thought process of playing in it. Yeah. I feel like for pitchers specifically, it's harder. I think as a hitter, I think it's a little easier playing it. As a pitcher, you're trying to ramp up. You're trying to figure out what you have. I think it's way more difficult going down and pitching. Sometimes you don't pitch. Sometimes you do. Sometimes, like Brady Singer wasn't pitching in the World Baseball Classic. So how is he supposed to get stretched out? How is he supposed to have game action? I think it's a lot more difficult for a pitcher. So hitters, I have less of an issue with. Pitchers, risk injury, obviously, but just getting what you need to get ready for the regular season makes it so much more difficult.
I would understand his decision to play. I wouldn't be happy about it because it's cool to play for the World Baseball Classic and play for Team USA, but you're playing for the Royals. All right, that's your job. World Baseball Classic can be a part-time job. That's really cool to get invited to, sort of an all-star game, all-star tournament, but your job is with the Royals. And you went from 2024 starting 32 games to then 2025 starting 13. It's a massive drop-off. And to then put that in jeopardy in any way, shape, or form would seem to be too much of a risk-reward type deal. Because pitchers have talked about pitching in the World Baseball Classic does throw the progression off of them getting ready for opening day in the beginning of the season. Because your regular spring training progression into being, the pitcher in the regular season has a certain path, and you take the plan that's there, and you go through your every 5 days or every couple days, or you're working on this pitch or that pitch. Now, World Baseball Classic, you're getting ramped up to then go out there and compete. The Shohei versus Mike Trout. Like, Shohei was fully ready to go. Like, mid-season form, you're out there playing because you're going up against a Mike Trout. It was an amazing moment in the World Baseball Classic. It was unbelievable. But it does impact a pitcher specifically, their progression and their plan of being fully ready to go on opening day. I would be frustrated. I would be annoyed And I would think that it was, to a degree, irresponsible to participate in that. I would understand why he would agree to do that. This makes me even happier with Cole Reagans in that he turned down that opportunity because he's got to be the 32 start guy if the Royals want to make the postseason. He can't be the 13 start guy that's battling hamstring and shoulder and whatever else is going on with him that's going to sap him of 19 starts over the course of the season from a guy that finished top 3 in the Cy Young the year before.
Yeah, and you have to be, you'd just have to imagine all those injuries were also why he was inefficient. I know the underlying metrics, though, by the way, for everyone who's listening, you know my thoughts. I love
About time.
I love underlying metrics. It's been a while since we've talked about it, so take a sip of coffee.
We already got there. First day Quatrero talks, and we already the very next day.
Underlying metrics. 4.67 ERA for Cole Reagans last year. His expected ERA was what? You want to take a guess?
Oh, man.
He has a 4.67. What do you think the expected ERA was?
This is where I go back and forth because he strikes a lot of guys out typically. So the expected ERA would be lower with the strikeouts. I'll go the other route. I'll go, what his actual ERA was what, 4.6?
6.7.
5.1.
I was going to say 2.5.
Yeah, 2.67.
That's what I was like. I thought it was going the opposite, like, oh, my God. But, yeah, he's typically lower because of the
ERA
strikeouts.
expected versus the real one was 2.
Yeah.
2-run differential.
Yeah.
So this is not a guy who you're like, oh, man. It's not Brad Keller. Which, by the way, Brad Keller also now is good again.
Yes.
So that's kind of funny.
As a reliever.
But as a starter where you're like, how is he doing this?
Smoke and mirrors.
But not Cole Reagans. His strikeout percentage as a starter was the best in baseball.
Mm-hmm.
The best.
Well, he ended the season with those 3 starts like we're talking about. I mean, it was, 13 innings, and he had 22 strikeouts and 4 walks in 13 innings, those last 3 starts.
He had 98 strikeouts in 61 innings. I mean, this guy is absurd as a starter. But you're right. He just has to stay healthy. He's had so many injuries already in his career. If this was a guy who has always taken the mound every 5 days and every year gives you, let's say in today's baseball, 180 innings, because 200 now seems to be the outlier of outliers, then you'd say, all right, he's always healthy. He knows what he's doing. But we've seen so much even prior when he was with the Rangers, the multiple surgeries, and I'm thrilled Cole Reagans turned that down.
Yeah. And you say 180, it was 186 in 24. And that's where it could have been somewhat expected of 2025 in a regression, in that in 2022, his rookie year, he pitched 40 innings. 23 between the Rangers and the Royals, he pitched 96 innings. Then he pitched 186, like more innings in 24 than he had his entire career to that point, and then drops down to 61 the next year. So, we talk about load management and things like that, where whether it's pitch count or innings, then maybe there could have been somewhat of an expected regression because of the toll. That was regular season too. Not even then you go into the postseason, he pitches a few times in the postseason, adding to that total to get over 200 innings for the season. That, okay, he returns the next year, maybe the body wasn't quite ready to go from 90 innings to over 200 from 1 year to the next. And hopefully now it is, and he gets back to being maybe a more consistent Sterling pitcher that can go 180.
I've always been slightly skeptical, and I shouldn't have so much data on this now, but these guys, we count every inning.
Like it's the same?
That's the same. We count every inning as if everyone's equal. We count every inning as if 186, and if you throw 200, though, your arm's going to fall off. But it's, for some reason, that 14-inning difference is the difference between Tommy John surgery or not. Yet they'll throw all these bullpen sessions. They'll throw all of these other they'll throw pitches before every inning to loosen up for the inning they're throwing. It's the old man in me a little bit.
It is.
Like, I'm very analytical. I love the data in baseball, which is very funny for me. Again, very old man guy.
But the underlying metrics of your old manisms.
I think we've slightly lost the plot a little bit on innings when it comes to them being equal and 186 versus 200 or 150 versus 200. Again, these guys will throw 12 pitches before they go out and throw 15 in an inning. But for some reason, those 12 don't count.
Well, I think that's maybe added into the whole thing. It's like, well, because there's also the stress level,
Of
the
100%.
leverage in the pitchers that are
100%. But have we found that leverage makes it more likely for your UCL to bust?
I think we found that being tired leads to more injuries.
Sure,
The more
in
your arm is
full
worn
out
down.
in full effort
Yeah.
versus 80%. I get all that.
Right.
all
Max
that.
velocity, arm getting tired, typically is what equals injury.
And we did see Cole Reagans at times felt like his fastball was down last year a little bit. At least early on, felt like we saw that.
Yeah, and so I don't know if one led to the other, if the correlation causation of 186 innings, 10 more in the postseason, so almost 200 innings after 96 the year before, is why then he had the regression to only 13 starts in 2025. I don't know. But if that's the case, then maybe the body is ready to then bounce back and be like, all right, now his body's been through this. He knows what the 186 was like and knows maybe how to take it easier at certain times. I don't know. He knows his body, and he's going to be 28 years old. So, or he just turned 28, at the end of last year. So like in December, I think his birthday. So he's now a 28-year-old man. All right, he's not a 24-year-old that's like, oh yeah, he's a 28-year-old man with multiple, one Tommy John and then another to clean up the previous Tommy John, and then some other injuries along the way for Cole Reagans.
I'm not worried about Cole Reagans bouncing back next year.
This year. Okay, I was going to say 27.
You're right, thank you.
I hope he's ready to go.
Obviously, the injuries are the only slight concern. The guy I'm worried about is Seth Lugo.
Yeah.
Seth Lugo got that contract, deserved the contract, and somehow, I don't know if it was the pressure of the contract, right? How, hey, I signed this, now I have to do even more than I was doing before. But there feels like a line of demarcation where it went from, okay, he's been phenomenal to, okay, should we throw Ryan Bergert out there instead of Seth Lugo? And Bergert was really good. I mean, this is not trying to take a shot at him, but Seth Lugo was the guy you counted on to most games go out there and give you 6 to 7 innings and be efficient and go 7 innings, 2 runs, 7 innings, 3 runs. But he was your workhorse, and you did not have that. That can't happen. If that happens, the Royals are in trouble because they have a lot of high upside guys. They have a lot of Waka and Lugo are your guys you have to count on every 5 days. Reagans, you hope you are, but then the Bergerts of the world, the Bubiches of the world, who, by the way, got his arbitration number.
Yeah, he won his arbitration case, which is interesting with his injury history.
Yeah, but again, those guys are going to be question marks. Lugo's the one guy him and Waka, you cannot have question marks about, and I have a big question mark about Lugo, which I feel like that conversation has not been talked about enough.
Yeah. So pre-contract, he had a 3.03 ERA on the season when they went to the end of July and whether they're going to trade him or not. 104 strikeouts and 37 walks. 104 Ks in 118 innings and only 37 walks with that 3 ERA. Post-contract, 6 starts, only 26 innings, so averaging 4 1/3 essentially. 26 innings, 21 strikeouts, 18 walks, 9.11 ERA after the contract.
And that was one game in there where he had 7 innings, no runs against the White Sox or something like that.
Well, he had his best game post-contract was against Texas when he had 6 1/3 with only 2 earned runs.
Okay.
Because
did the slide start right before the contract then?
No, he signed that contract at the end of July, right? It was like the trade deadline, and are they going to trade him? Nope, they end up signing him.
Which, again, I'm glad they signed him, but I was trying to think of when that game was. Doesn't matter. The point remains he was bad after the contract.
Yeah. Yep. He was pretty rough in that stretch. So
it made you yearn for Jordan Lyles.
I don't know that happened. I don't think that's the case.
For those 6 starts.
It didn't help my rotisserie team with the way that Lugo ended.
Are you concerned about Lugo
Yes.
going forward? Okay.
Yeah, I am. I'm absolutely concerned about it because we've seen now a couple of years where he has gone through a stretch to where it's dead arm or he's tired, that what he has done to that point then looks completely different for a number of starts after that. And last year, once it got to the end of August, then it was like, all right, we'll just shut him down now. There's no reason to, have him continue to go out there and pitch when he's not pitching well. So, September gets there, throw the different guys that are out there. It's a different year. He's pitching differently than he was last, and now he's got a 9 ERA in his last 6 starts. So it's time to look ahead to the next year. Yeah, how do they handle him is going to be a question moving into that late July, mid to late July, August that he has suffered from the last couple of years. How does Matt Quatraro, how does Sweeney, how do those guys get the most out of Seth Lugo without having the late July, mid-August stretch where he just doesn't look like the same guy? Is that taking more off his plate earlier in the season? Or June, they're very much hyper-aware of that in June? July, early on, hyper-aware of what's happened? Seth Lugo may be hyper-aware, more in tune to his body of what he's feeling and what may have happened the last couple of years as to why that has been the case. But it's 2 years in a row that he's done sort of the same thing, that he's gotten to that level. And, 2 years ago, he had like a 2.7 ERA.
Yeah.
Last year was a 3.01. Pretty much the same.
Yeah.
And then he had a stretch where he really struggled. Then unlike 2024, last year's struggles ended up being, just shut him down. The struggles in 2025 were, okay, cool, he figured it out. And now let's go into the postseason with Seth Lugo and Cole Reagans and Michael Wacha. I mean, in 2020, when they made the playoffs, those guys combined for 94 starts in the season. Last year, they combined for 70. I mean, the Royals missed the postseason not by a whole lot. And there were 24 games fewer last year of Reagans, Wacha, Lugo starts than there was in the year where they made the postseason. That's a massive difference for your top 3 in your rotation. Now, Noah Cameron stepped up and pitched really well.
Yeah,
Berger
I think
stepped
Berger
up and pitched really
Kolek
well.
even had a starter too. And I will say with Michael Wacha, he has been the pinnacle of consistency. He's not going to be the guy. He's not.
Although he's pitching in the World Baseball Classic.
I know he's been maybe the anti-Chris Bubich.
Yeah.
To an extent, where Bubich is the upside. When he's on, my goodness, watch. I mean, even Cole Reagans to an extent, but you can count on Wacha. Knock on wood.
Bubich before his injury was like, is he going to start the All-Star game?
He was insane.
Bubich
It was amazing. He
unbelievable.
was phenomenal. But then what we've seen, we've not seen it for a full year, really, especially as a starter. But Michael Wacha has been a guy that the Royals need Michael Wacha. They need a consistent presence that you can count on to give you pretty much 6 innings every time he goes out there. It might be 6 innings, 3 runs.
Yeah.
6 innings, 2 runs. You probably won't have a lot of 8 shutout innings, but to me, this is a very well-constructed starting rotation for Kansas City because you have your floor guys, you have the ceiling guys. You have 7 guys, I think, that you can count on and be happy with. To me, even with some of the concerns that we've had with even like the Seth Lugos and let's say even Reagans or Bubich's health, you have Noah Cameron, you do have Kolek, you do have Ryan Bergert. In a pinch, I know he was horrible last year. You have Bailey Falter who's been there and done it. I know he was brutal last year. The point still remains. If they're going to keep those guys because they couldn't find a trade partner, you feel real good about your chances heading into next year. I think if you had all these guys the entire season last year, they make the postseason. Yeah,
the last 2 years, Michael Wacha has started a total of 60 games, and it wasn't like 38 and 22.
If you start 38, you're 4 days rest.
I know. I was just making up a stupid number.
Yeah.
But it was 29 and 31.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, he started 60 the last 2 years. 29 one year, 31 the next year.
Was one a leg when he took one off the leg?
It was like the foot a couple of years
thing,
ago that he had the broken toe or something like that. That cost him. Let's hear. You mentioned Chris Bubich. Let's hear Matt Quatraro yesterday. He was asked about Chris Bubich showing up healthy. They had to shut him down last year, and the way that he was going, and the guy makes the All-Star break or makes the All-Star game And then after that, it's like, wow, what happened? He's no longer pitching, and he was looking really awesome. Here's Matt Crotreau talking about last year for Chris Bubich and now a healthier version, hopefully.
Really disappointing to go literally from the All-Star game to one more outing and then that's it. And so for him, I know that was not fun. And he's such, you guys have been around him. He's such a great guy, so thoughtful, such a good team person that just to have him out there every day, and obviously because he's so good, that helps us win games. And you don't ever want to see guys have to go through those kinds of injuries and setbacks. So to get him back out there again is really a positive.
Bubich is going to play a big role on this team, one way or another, if he's healthy. Well, 4 scenarios playing a big role. 1, the worst case, he gets injured, and it's a big role in that he was hoping to be a part of this team and somebody that you could, have out there for massive innings and is not going to be out there. That's a role that is in a bad way. That's the negative role. They have the starters that they want, and instead of taking a chance with Bubich, they'd rather just get the most out of him in the innings that he can pitch as a dominant bullpen reliever. Okay, there's one. There's a role that they could have. He gets into the rotation and looks like he did first half of the season last year and is amazing. Okay, there's a role. Or either in spring training or the first part of the season, he's a trade piece and brings something back. There are 4 scenarios for Chris Bubich this year that I think all of them have an impact on the team. 3 of them are in a positive way. 1 of them would be in a negative way. And unfortunately, what we saw last year is couldn't stay healthy. The year before that, not that he couldn't stay healthy, he was coming back from Tommy John, but once he was brought back in the bullpen, he was healthy. He stayed that way. And they wanted to see what they could get out of him as a starter. And they saw that they had a really good pitcher as a starter. But, it's nice to get the 20 starts from Bubich and have the, 2.5 ERA. But if those 20 starts then result in you not pitching again the rest of the season, it's like 116 innings for Chris Bubich as a starter, more than what he had the year before. But if he's pitching out of the bullpen, you're not getting 116, but are you remaining healthy and being able to use Chris Bubich more often if you feel like your rotation is set? I think he's penciled in as part of the rotation right now.
I think he's pinned in.
I shouldn't say penciled in. We say penciled in but he's pinned in. He is part of the rotation right now as long as he's healthy. I just think they have to assess amongst themselves with JJ and Sweeney and Q, and they already have clearly, of what's the best path moving forward, a bullpen stud or a guy that has the potential to be a starter stud, but also at any given time, it might be the last start of the season for him.
Yeah, I think that's why you have Bergert and Kolick. I think the Royals are one of the few teams that are in a unique position to where you can try it out, and if he gets injured, it sucks, but at least you can somewhat stop the blow from being detrimental to you 100% missing the playoffs. I think it's worth it, and I was wrong, because this is me saying I was wrong. I said they should have kept him in the bullpen. I was last year.
What if he stayed healthy all year if they did that?
And
we don't know that you're wrong.
No, but I even just what he did, 20 starts, 116 with a 2.55. It's worth it. The risk is worth the reward. If he was going out and giving you a 4 ERA or even like a 3.5 or 3.75, you'd be like, I don't know about that. If it's
you sure about that?
Yeah, you sure? But like a 3.1 or less ERA, I'm like, that's worth it to me. The risk is worth the reward. So for me, I thought I would have left him in the bullpen heading into last year, but after we saw what he did, I do think, again, the risk is worth the reward of having him as a starter and keeping him there, at least trying. He's probably not going to be a 7 to 8 inning guy consistently. But who really is in today's baseball?
Yeah,
you have like Tariq Skubal and Garrett Crochet, and if he gives you 5 scoreless or 6 innings, one earned run, to me that's way more valuable than a bullpen arm. You brought in Matt Strom. You have a top 5 left-handed reliever in all of baseball, maybe top 3 lefty reliever in all of baseball, and
you got 2 different closers essentially.
Yeah, maybe even 3 if you're going to say Ersig.
Well, Ursig and Estevez is sort of what I'm going with.
I was going to say Matt Strom could be one, too. I think he can close games out if you
He
need to.
could, but he's more of like what his role has been in his career.
Sure.
I think is, set him there, leave him, set it and forget it, as they say.
But
back in the day.
you have options, and I guess for me, that'd be the other bullpen arm I had slight concerns about. That the upside's electric, but we saw some inconsistencies. Is Lucas Erceg? We saw a little bit of human from Lucas when we saw him look like 95% of Wade Davis for a stretch.
Yeah, and I'm not good at math, but I mean, even if you get 80% of Chris Bubich from what he brought in 20 starts for 30, I mean it's a hell of a pitcher on your team that can make a difference in making the postseason. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. I do want to get into the rule change that was voted on by the owners. That isn't a rule change, but it's just a change to how they're enforcing the rule that's already there, which is just simply enforcing the rule that's already there. But it is a change because the rule's there. They just didn't enforce it.
They're calling traveling now.
Makes sense.
Welcome to the Zone, Sports Radio 810 WHB. Sterling Holmes, Jason Anderson, Michael Darcy. Sports or leisure in about a half hour. Let's get leisurely. Gonna have a little fun with Johnny's Tavern. So we left off with that conversation last break with the rule change. That's not a change. A rule enforcement came to a head in World Series Game 7, where the coaches asked to stay in their box.
Yeah. Stay in your go back to your corners. Okay.
It's like a boxing match. Stay in your box.
Yeah, go back to your respective corners, there, coaches. There, you jerks. Yeah. So now you have to follow the rules, I guess. Is that what we're saying? Is just they're making them follow the rules that you have to stay in the coach's box until the pitch is delivered, which is already on the rule books?
So it's just trying to stop pitch stealing.
Yeah, or attempted
Pitch stealing, which the thought process was the third and first base coach were going up the line, able to see what was being called.
Over the line!
Then relaying that to the runner on second base. So it's a very specific situation that has to happen to begin with.
Or relaying it to the hitter.
To the hitter, but a lot of times you have to do it with the runner on second base. It's just...
Or if there's a righty in the box that can sort of see down the first base line and he can see what that guy's doing, if he's, holding his hands on his hips or something, or, messing with his cap, doing different things like that you can sort of pass along a little bit.
Wasn't PitchCom supposed to stop a lot of this, though?
Well, it stopped the sign stealing, but, it's not necessarily stealing signs. It's just that, okay, this is going to be a breaking ball.
Well, how can it be a break? You couldn't tell, I guess.
Or it's going to be inside or
outside.
Yeah, wherever or sometimes a catcher, if they know that they're going to bury that, they might start off pretty low.
Sure.
Like they're going to start off even lower, like, hey, in the dirt, bury this thing. All right? So then it's like, okay, this thing's going to be a breaking pitch. And however you can be able to relay those things. I don't mind the gamesmanship that goes on with trying to steal signs and things like that.
Trash cans hate.
Yeah.
But
I just, this is, so I don't mind that, but this is, okay, if you can do that while in the coach's box, first and third base coach, then do it. That's fine. What we're saying is maybe don't walk all the way up and down or as far out of the box just specifically to go out of your way to try to get a better angle to see what pitch is going to be thrown. And after the pitch is thrown, you can move wherever you want. Because a third base coach should not be confined to the third base coaching box.
This aggression will not stand,
It will not. It's exactly right. That's what I'm saying. The aggression towards third base coaches, and as somebody who is a third base coach on the same level as Major League Baseball third base coaches, I need to sometimes work up the line towards home plate so I can get a better view on if I should hold them, if I should send them.
Jason
I need to be able to do this.
Pitches.
No,
Jason he's been relaying to these 9-year-olds.
The 9-year-olds. Hey, psst, here comes a fastball. Hey, psst. Here comes a fastball. But where at? I don't know. Neither does the pitcher.
They have no
idea. The
idea.
catcher. They don't.
Yeah, but that third base box really tied the field together.
Yes, it did. Hey, psst, psst. Watch out for the fastball here. But also, watch out for in your ear, too. All right, he might ear hole you this one. So at any point, this might be right down the middle or at your helmet. Just be aware. I am sorry, coach. Sorry, coach. I'm stealing signs from your 9-year-old pitcher over there.
I love that.
I'm pretty sure you're throwing a fastball.
I love that Chris Getz was the one that was interviewed for this too.
Well, whatever Chris wants, Chris gets. And he wanted this.
Yeah.
So he gets it.
When you can control it. That's the White Sox would have made the playoffs last year if it wasn't for this.
That's what I've always said, is the White Sox have been the team that has gotten screwed the most from this whole thing. What did he say? What did Chris Getz say?
No, he just goes, it doesn't surprise me. When you can control it with the coaches stayed in the box, let's stick to that. If it can minimize it a little, it would be welcome, end quote. It was nothing bad, but it's just funny to make fun of the White Sox because they're the White Sox.
I just love that the rule's already on the books. that the coaches aren't allowed to leave the coaching boxes until the ball is in play or caught by the catcher. Once the pitcher makes contact with the rubber, you are supposed to stay within the coach's box. Until the ball is hit, that's the rule. They're actually saying, we're not even going to go as far as enforcing that rule. We're just saying you got to stay in the box until the ball is pitched. So in that little bit of time from when he releases it to then the ball getting, you can move now in the half second.
It's like a free throw.
We're
you have to wait till it leaves the hand or hits the rim.
We're allowing you the half second between leaving the hand to when the contact is made that you can leave. We're not saying you have to wait till contact now to go ahead and leave the box. But it's already been on the books. They're just going to enforce it now.
So coaches will get a warning, and then they're subject to ejection if they don't stay in their boxes.
Yeah, stay. It's like stay in your boxes. There should be like a penalty box too. Like if you
like a
get out of the
penalty
box,
box,
then you've got to go to a penalty box, and then there's like actual plexiglass around you. So when you've got to try to give the signs and everything,
I'm
like
probably
it's difficult.
being very dumb here. I feel like this could not have been that big a deal. If the first base coach can tell the hitter what's coming based on however the catcher is set up, at some point, tip your cap. You know how much information has to be relayed in such a little period of time? Like, yeah, I don't like when you're using technology and banging trash cans. You have cameras set up in center field, allegedly Boston, that somehow got thrown away. What happened to that? What happened to Boston's iPad scandal that just everyone glossed over?
Cora's now the coach again. It's all good. It's no big deal.
But stuff that happens on the field like this, I have less of an issue with, because to me, that's the gamesmanship that's been going on for centuries now in baseball.
Yeah, century. 1740, I think, is when they first started trying to steal signs.
1800s technically consists of centuries now.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, and 1825, the first sign stealing scandal in Major League Baseball. It's crazy. It's crazy what happened. That was a crazy year. 200 years ago. It's unbelievable what happened there. All right, we'll take a timeout. We'll come back, continue rolling. We talked a lot of college basketball in the first hour, and I want to get into that a little bit. Well, we got one segment left for Sports or Leisure. I want to talk about DeMarco Murray. So we talked a lot of college basketball in the first hour. So if you missed that, go check out the podcast. We talked a ton about what the win meant for Mizzou and the significance of playing the way that they did and getting the win on the road. And we also talked about Jerome Tang's comments while playing Kenny Dillingham's comments after a 4-2 start last year of what's it mean to get outcoached? It means every single thing that happens on the court or on the field is my fault. I got outcoached because that scheme worked against us. This guy missed the tackle. We didn't make a play. That's all on me. I brought him in. I brought the coaches in. I brought everybody into this. This is me. I'm in charge of all of it. So therefore, it's my fault if something happens. And Jerome Tang is like, you know what, Kenny? It is your fault. It is your fault and everybody else's fault as to why Kansas State basketball is struggling like it is. You are right, Kenny. As Jerome Tang, it's Kenny Dillingham's fault.
Took his guys.
That's right. That's 100%. That's the problem. It's everybody else. Everybody else is going on. We'll talk about DeMarco Murray, and there's commentary around DeMarco Murray that makes me less enthused about the hiring. We'll explain next. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Coming up at 1 o'clock, Sports or Leisure, presented by Johnny's Tavern. We'll give away $25 to Johnny's Tavern if you get a sports question and a leisure question correct. We do that coming up in the next hour. The reports out there of the Kansas City Chiefs deciding on who their next running back coach will be after letting Todd Pinkston go and needing to find a coach to coach the running backs. We heard Dylan McCullough. We heard Deuce Staley that I sort of guessed was going to be the next running back coach was going to be Deuce Staley. It seems like right in line with Andy Reid.
And you saw DeMarco Murray and said, what the deuce?
That's exactly what I said. Yes.
Staley?
100%. DeMarco Murray has been a running backs coach for Arizona and Oklahoma the last 5 years with Oklahoma as the running backs coach with OU, and now is reportedly going to be the running back coach for the Kansas City Chiefs. And so there's a couple of ways that I view this. One, I do think it's a positive in that this is a guy that really didn't cross paths at all with Andy Reid, that I can tell. Like, at all. He played at Oklahoma when Andy Reid was the coach of the Philadelphia Eagles. He was the coach of the Kansas City Chiefs when DeMarco Murray was playing for the Eagles. So there was no crossing paths there at all. And so he's brought in to be the running back coach. Okay, so now you've got a wide receiver coach that does not cross paths with Andy Reid. You've got a running back coach that does not cross paths with Andy Reid. The fact that he would be willing to go outside of somebody he's comfortable with or knows or has ever had a personal relationship before or understands how he'd be able to work with that guy or how that guy works and what it's like in a meeting, in a setting, a certain way, what you're going to get from him. Andy Reid likes to go to what's comfortable. It's a known quantity with this guy in how he is a coach, as opposed to the unknown that might be different than what I'm used to. He willing to do that with Chad O'Shea, and now willing to do that with DeMarco Murray. Also, DeMarco Murray has coached running backs and did play running back. That's a nice change, too.
392 carries 1 year.
That's a lot.
That 1 year.
Yeah.
In 16 games.
Yeah. He's an all-pro. He's a Pro Bowler.
Almost won MVP that year. Was third.
Offensive Player of the Year in the NFL. You know, probably won some people their fantasy football leagues. That was big. Like he's played the position. So whoever comes in and is a running back, it's like, okay, DeMarco Murray's played the position and he's had experience coaching it. That's good. Here's where I feel like there's an element of going the route that I was already sort of wanting the Chiefs to not go. When they hire Connor Embry, Todd Pinkston, it's different when they got Daly or Cullen. Because if you remember back when the Chiefs got Joe Cullen, the commentary around that was, oh, that's great for the Chiefs. That guy's a former DC, phenomenal defensive line coach. That's a great hire. Got Daly. It's a good hire for the Chiefs. The guy's a phenomenal coach, was around the Patriots, won some Super Bowls. He's coached D-line. He's coached linebackers. He understands the defense overall. That's a really good get for the Kansas City Chiefs. What do you hear with DeMarco Murray? This is really good for DeMarco. What a great deal. DeMarco can now learn under Andy Reid and Eric Bieniemy. This is a really great opportunity for DeMarco Murray. It's about how awesome it is for DeMarco. When the Chiefs got Chad O'Shea, that's going to be big for the wide receiver room for the Chiefs. Because Chad O'Shea is a guy that's been there, done that, coached with the Patriots for a long time, 2 decades worth of coaching experience. He's got rings. He's got bona fides of saying, you know, this guy, that guy that I've coached, I've worked with, I've helped this guy turn into doesn't have to point to like Randy Moss and Wes Welker of like, I created them. No, but I worked with them. Julian Edelman was the 7th-round quarterback that we drafted that I turned into a pretty damn good wide receiver. Like, he's got the resume to talk to the receivers in the room to demand respect. That's good for the Chiefs. Getting Chad O'Shea. DeMarco Murray, what a great opportunity for DeMarco Murray. I still am of the mind that it's the Kansas City Chiefs. It's one of their premier franchises. They should be the ones that are bringing in the already good seasoned coaches that will be good for the Chiefs to bring that guy in.
I care
That's
less.
That's the only part that I have concerns about.
I care less about this than I think the majority of folk, especially less than you. And the reason
I could care less.
The reason is Eric Bieniemy. I think Bieniemy is going to be the de facto RB coach as well. Like, I think he's going to have a huge input in this. And I don't even know who was the one did he tab DeMarco? Because we talked about that. If Bieniemy is the one that tabbed DeMarco, wouldn't that also be the case of, okay, he sees something in DeMarco Murray? So I don't have a huge, of any position group, I think this is the one I had the least, because Bieniemy's back.
Yeah.
If it was still Matt Nagy, I think maybe I would feel different. But with Bieniemy being back and his ability to work with the run game and hopefully revitalize it, I'm totally okay with this. And again, fair or not, DeMarco had a really good, really nice career.
Yeah.
Including a couple massive seasons. You can point to that. If you're a player, you can say, hey, dude, I know what it's like. I've been there. I've done this.
His voice carries weight. I think that's a huge
He does
thing.
have a deeper voice. You're right about that. Yeah.
I've actually never heard him talk.
Me
But
neither.
I'm glad that the Chiefs went with experience here, because you got a running back to coach running backs. You got a wide receivers coach that has done this before. They are making changes to the smaller pieces on the coaching staff that we were asking for that overall change.
No, this is more positive than negative for me with the entire sort of bigger picture 10,000-foot view of it, of O'Shea and DeMarco Murray, that they have guys coaching those positions that have either coached those positions for a couple of decades or played the position or also has been a coach of said position. Because that was my issue with Todd Pinkston was a wide receivers coach in college, but wasn't coaching when they hired him to be the running back coach. Like, all he had done was coach wide receivers and play wide receiver. Connor Embry was a guy that was sort of elevated and just like, okay, well, I guess he's next in line, and this is an opening at wide receivers coach. Well, let's just go that route. As opposed to, no, DeMarco Murray played it. He played in the NFL. He's played in multiple systems, so understanding what the job and responsibility of a running back is, the angles that are there, how to set up blocks, things that can be teachable. So that's good. So it's an overall positive for me more than anything. I think at that position, it was so bad last year. The coaching to me was so bad at the running back spot. And Mitchell Schwartz has pointed out a couple of different things where an angle here, there's no reason for the running back to go this way. This is an easy, teachable thing. How is this running back doing that? Pacheco in year 4. Kareem Hunt being as long as he's been in the NFL. Yet the running game was suffering by mistakes that were made that were easily correctable, should have been fixable, should have never even happened in a game, especially with a couple of those that were scripted first 15. If there is a position, I guess the two positions, if there were positions that I would want them to put extra focus on, it obviously is the wide receiver and running back room. They've done that with Chad O'Shea. I'd have been perfectly fine with them going and getting yet another running back coach that has been a running back coach in the NFL and played running back. But I will settle, by the way, this is where I'm saying the 10,000-foot view. I will settle with the fact that, they brought a guy in who's been a running back in the NFL and has been a running back coach for the last 6 years. In college or not, the guy's been coaching running backs, and he doesn't have to worry about going out and recruiting. He doesn't have to worry about, NIL stuff. And, hey, we got DeMarco Murray in here to be a running back coach. Well, you know what a running back coach and a wide receiver coach and those guys are in college? They're recruiters.
Yeah.
That's what they are. You go and recruit the kids, and hopefully they're studs. Can I make them into better players? Certainly, but I'm not going to probably make a 2-star into, a first-round draft pick running back. Can I make a 2-star into a guy that's a really good running back on this team? Hopefully, but my job is to go get the 5-star and the
Missouri
4-star.
did it with Cody Schrader and with Ahmad Hardy.
Go get that running back coach, or offensive line coach. So now you don't have to worry about all the recruiting stuff. Now you're just simply coaching football as a running back. So I like the hire. I do. I was, and I like it even more from a standpoint that I really thought he was going to go hire Deuce Staley. Like, I thought there it is. Deuce Staley's the guy. He coached him. But, hey, at least he's a coach in the NFL coaching that position that he played. I'm good with that. But this, to me, because they asked for permission to interview McCullough, do Staley. Because they asked for permission and it was like they were looking around and hired DeMarco Murray, leads me to believe that there was more of a process of like, let's go and get the best guy that we think can work well with everybody and not just, oh, Deuce Staley, let's bring him in. I know him. It's no, we went through the process and they identified Chad O'Shea early. It was like, this is the guy we want. Let's bring him in. This is what people are talking about. We like him. Cool. Here's the job. You want it? Yes or no, but decide right now. We're not going to wait for you to decide on what Stefanski's going to do. And you're not going to, you can follow him if you want to, but he doesn't have a job. Take the job right now or not. And we're going to move on. This seemed to be like more of a process that they let draw out so they could find, didn't really identify one guy. This is the guy we want to bring in, but let's go and search and find the guy that we think will be the best fit moving forward.
They interviewed multiple guys.
Yeah.
And I can't say that they did that at offensive coordinator or wide receivers coach.
And I don't think they really needed to at wide. I think they identified early on, like, this is the guy we want.
And at least in the interview process, they had a chance to say, okay, what would you bring to the running back room?
Mm-hmm.
And if they feel confident that he's the guy, then I like that because the process in which they hired him was good.
Yeah, and it wasn't where people complaining about Eric Bieniemy. Like, well, who all did you interview? You just decided on Eric Bieniemy. Well, this is one to where they put in requests to interview different guys. Like, they were searching and looking for who the best person, the best fit would be, and they went with him. So I'm good with it, and I hope the next spot that Murray goes to, I hope that he gets advanced. I hope that he's a running back coach and somebody's like, boom, that's our next offensive coordinator because he's that good. I don't know. But I hope when that happens, they go, boy, that's great for the Panthers to get DeMarco Murray. Look what he did with the Chiefs.
Can't wait for him to he's only 38. Put a helmet on and get a couple of
too. That's fine
plays.
Too. Because honestly, like, if I was a Titans fan, one of my concerns of Matt Nagy would be everybody that talked about the Titans and Matt Nagy, it was, what a great opportunity for Matt Nagy.
Yeah.
Good for Matt Nagy to get another chance. It wasn't awesome for Cam Ward. This is amazing for the Titans that they're going to get that guy.
It's a good
That
call.
was the Bears, Caleb Williams, and Ben Johnson. Sports or Leisure next.
You're into sports, but nothing wrong with a little leisure time. Why not both?
You're going to have a heart attack by the time you're 40 if you don't learn to relax.
It's time for sports or leisure on The Zone with Jason Anderson.
So what do we do here? It's been a while. I don't know. What do we do? The music means something, right? It's different music than we typically have on.
I know it means it's going to be very hard on Darcy.
Okay. All right. Good to know. Very, very good.
I said on,
Okay.
not in. I said on.
Really?
Whoa. No one was saying that you
I
said
said
it the
on.
other way.
Not one person said that at all.
I said on.
Like, literally nobody.
It's onders.
Literally,
hard
I don't
on.
want you to.
It's
Yeah, we don't have to go
onders.
that route. You know what I mean? Yeah, like. Yeah. Sure.
What? I'm talking about. Okay.
Wow.
Making sure that you didn't have a.
No, I mean, let's get into it. Sports or leisure, 913-3810810. Please
Get onto
save
it. I think.
us here.
Get onto it, I think. Is what you meant.
Save us here. My God, Sterling. My God, man. Have some pride in yourself. You keep this up, I will fight you. I am at Buffalo Wild Wings. If you're one of them guys that's planning a parade, you come down here and I will fight you. Yeah. All right, 913-3810810. How do you play sports or leisure? Very easy. You call in. That's the first part. You get put on hold. That's the second part. You get a sports question and a leisure question. You get them both right. You win. Either of them wrong, you do lose.
Call in or call on?
Either one. You'll call in. We will call on you to then play. You get a sports question, leisure question, get them both right, you win. If you get one of them wrong, because it'd be hard to get both of them wrong. If you get one of them wrong, you do lose. But the question's out there available for someone to call in and request if they know the answer to it.
And we're still friends.
Yeah. Yeah, even
We
if you
still
don't
like
get it, most of the time, even if you don't get it right, we still have respect for you. Depending on how wrong you were, then we'll laugh. Sometimes, I don't know. But the question is out there for you to call and request, and maybe get you halfway to your goal, or maybe there's a couple of questions out there. Who knows? But $25 at Johnny's Tavern we are giving away if you get them both right. 10 area locations, Kansas City's premier sports bar. 10 area locations, including Lawrence and Topeka. The Lawrence location, home of Hawk Talk with Bill Self and Lance Leipold. Wednesday night, that was last night, a little Hawk Talk.
The 95th and Antioch location, home of Sterling Holmes.
You live there? You live there?
A lot.
That's odd, man. I didn't realize.
Deliciousness. And the one by Blue Line North. That was
I honestly did not realize that that's where you lived. Like, I've heard you talk about the place and some of the renovations that you guys did and everything. So, but I didn't realize that there was actually at.
Yeah, I just lived there.
That's pretty cool, man.
It's delicious. They don't know about it. I hide there. It's like that.
They're unaware.
They're unawares.
Unaware of that. Okay. All right, that's how you play. That's the phone number. That's what we're playing for. Let's go to the categories here. We have NFL, which includes a couple of general questions, but also some Super Bowl questions along with that. We have Chiefs Super Bowl questions. We have Winter Olympics as a category. So those are the categories on the sports side. What about on the leisure side, Sterling?
We have potpourri.
Okay.
We have fresh riddles, baby.
Fresh riddles.
New riddles. They're fresh.
Yeah, fresh.
And we have Name That Movie.
Yeah.
Movie quotes.
Yeah. Well, that's a category where Sterling will just tell you what the movie is, and then you repeat what the movie is.
I will not. These are actually hard's a very relative term.
Yeah.
They're not as simple as these are less comedic and more just very famous ones.
Okay.
And like, oh, is it from the 90s, 2000s? Could be.
Have
fun.
What's this quote from? These people are really of mice and men. I don't know.
That's why they call me Superman 3, The Return of Superman.
Oh, man, was that Batman? Was that? No, Iron Man. Got it. Nailed it. There you go. All right, so those are the categories. I am ready to play. Sterling, you good?
Fact.
Okay, very good. Michael?
I was gonna say fiction, but no, a fact. I'm ready to play.
Okay, very good.
You get a point?
Yeah. All right, so
You okay over there?
well, I'm just reading. Ian Rappaport just tweeted out and said a historic day for the Houston Texans, and I'm like, okay, so what is this historic day?
It's
for the Houston
it's one
Texans?
small step for
Is that right?
man, one large step for mankind.
That's what they said.
Verbatim, I think.
Yep. This is from Cal McNair. Today is a historic day for the Houston Texans, our fans in the greater Houston area, as we partner with Howard Hughes and Harris County on a world-class sports and entertainment destination, including our new headquarters and training facility. Okay, cool. Great, neat. All right, they're moving to Kansas. What are the odds of that? I'll tell you what, if they take Washington Square, the Royals are going to be screwed. If that happens. What's that? Texans are moving to the Asperia campus. No wonder it wasn't available anymore. All right, 913-381-810-810 is the phone number. 913-381-810-810. Let's go to the phone line. Let's play without further ado. It's been a lot of ado. Chuck, next up, leading us off. Sports or leisure, Chuck. Let's get rolling here on this Thursday. What do you got? What side do you want to start with?
Well, can I first say it's a giant leap for mankind?
Nope, it's a giant step.
Out real quick.
It's a huge step.
It's a giant
Sterling.
step. They didn't leap as much as step, and
Yeah.
so that's the difference.
Jake would say they didn't do either.
That's true. It's all on the soundstage.
Yeah, absolutely. Somewhere in Canada.
We're going to go with the riddles. I usually, not riddles, leisure, but I usually do riddles. Let's do the movie quotes. I want a hard movie quote.
I love the smell of napalm in the morning.
That's Apocalypse Now.
Yeah.
That is, yeah.
Apocalypse Now.
Yeah.
Well done.
Darcy would not have gotten that, guaranteed.
I think I had that one.
Really?
Because it was Brad Pitt, right? Maybe I did not get that right. Based on the facial reactions, I did not get that right.
Apocalypse Now, very famously starring Brad Pitt.
Yeah, Brad Pitt was
No,
the main
I'm
character.
thinking of that zombie movie.
That whole thing. We're going to send that in. That is, you know what, Chuck? We're going to win a Marconi, and you're a part of it, man. You can be up on stage with us as we accept the Marconi Award for excellence in radio. Nailed it. All right, on to the sports side. What category are you thinking?
I cuddly was driving and
you're fine.
glossed over the sports categories, so my apologies.
No, you're good. We have general NFL, which includes some Super Bowl and some other things. We have Chiefs, Super Bowl, and we have Winter Olympics.
Let's just do general NFL.
General NFL for you. Okay. Then let's go with this one. Who was the last running back to gain 100 yards rushing in the Super Bowl? Before Kenneth Walker, obviously. Kenneth Walker. Gosh, you got it. There's your riddle. Nailed it. Before K9, who was the last running back to get 100 yards rushing in the Super Bowl?
Sterling got it.
Bragger.
Not Saquon. He didn't do that last year.
Nope. Spags made sure he was not going to get 100 yards rushing in that game.
Right.
It's unfortunate.
Oh, jeez. Going back before that, it was in the Chiefs
And it's
game.
been since Emmitt Smith.
And since Terrell Davis.
That's what it is.
Wait, was...
I don't even know if Emmitt Smith did it. But...
Oh, jeez. One of the Williams, D. Williams, and there was like two D. Williams. I was getting backwards. Didn't one of them do it in 2020 or whatever it was, 2019 season?
That is correct, yes.
That big long run.
Yep, Damian Williams.
Damian, thank you.
Yep, not Daryl, or his other brother Daryl.
Daryl.
Damian Williams.
Barrel.
Damian Williams with 100 yards rushing, and Kenneth Walker III with over 100 yards rushing. One of those running backs deserved the MVP and got it on Sunday.
Well,
the other MVP was deserving to go to the quarterback and got it.
It's now Kenneth Walker the fourth because the Patriots are now his kid.
I see. There you go. Yep, I like it. Very good. Chuck, we'll put you on hold and get your information. Congratulations, sir.
Thanks, guys. MIZ.
Yeah,
ZOU.
Yeah, absolutely. And you and Michael can talk about that Apocalypse Now movie that you guys both watched and loved. So clearly the same one. There you go. 913
I was thinking
38.
of World War Z.
Also, I love how
You know what? I mean, it's
love
kind
how
of an apocalypse.
Kenneth Walker the Fourth doesn't even make sense as making the Patriots their kid. That joke makes zero sense, but just go with it.
Yeah, I know. We were glossing.
It was like when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor. Just let him go with it. He's on a roll.
Yeah, right. So, I mean, we just roll with it, man. That and Brad Pitt's amazing performance in Apocalypse
We've had
Now
some strong moments this segment.
in the 70s. Let's go to Tim next up on Sports Radio 810. Tim, sports or leisure, what side would you like to start with?
Let's see. So it was Chiefs Super Bowl. That was the last category question. Or no, that was general.
So we have general NFL, we have Chiefs Super Bowl, and then we have Winter Olympics.
Was the last question Chuck got right, though, from the
That was
general
general.
or the Chiefs?
That was actually just general NFL.
That's what I thought.
Because if
But
I
knew
said that
the
was
answer, darn it.
because I was if I said that was
Extra
Chiefs NFL,
Yeah,
that'd be
right.
kind of an easy giveaway. Because
Well, it was easy anyway.
Oh,
but
look
anyway,
at you.
go ahead. Let's do Chiefs Chiefs Super Bowl.
all right, Chiefs Super Bowl. Who was the Chiefs' all-time leading rusher in the Super Bowl? Combined for a
rushing.
career, not just one game. All-time leading rusher in Super Bowls.
Is this a trick question? It's not the placeholder. Good gosh. Could it be the same guy? I swear we've had this question before once.
Sterling got it right.
Oh, Sterling got it right.
It was World War Z.
I mean,
It was Brad Pitt.
all right. Seriously. No.
Is it Martin Sheen?
Charlie.
It was
Charlie.
I promise you, it was not Charlie Sheen.
Oh, okay.
in that
Well, I
movie.
mean, he
It
was
not Charlie in that
He was
movie.
amped up.
It couldn't be the same guy as the first question. That would be against the policies of sports or leisure, right?
Well, I mean, he gained 100 yards in the game, but I don't know how many
Yeah.
other Super Bowls he played in.
That's true.
So, who's the all-time leading rusher for the Chiefs in the Super Bowl? Super Bowl specifically for a career. Sterling got it. Michael got it.
And I guess he's still playing, isn't he, with the Chiefs?
Good.
I mean, I would guess.
It's possible.
It's possible.
I mean, he couldn't specifically play right now.
Look, it's the offseason.
But yeah, it's a good point. That's the main reason why he could not play right now.
I'll say Pacheco.
Pacheco is incorrect, Tim. Not bad. Not bad. He's actually the second leading rusher for the Super Bowl for Chiefs history. Tim, thank you for playing, man. Well done. 913-381-1010. We go to John next up on Sports Radio 810. John, sports or leisure, what side would you like to start with?
Well, I hate to say it, but I'm going to clean up after Tim again. I think I've cleaned up after Tim before.
It happens. It happens. It's just a matter of
Sometimes he
who's calling in first or second. But who's the Chiefs' all-time leading rusher in said Super Bowls?
That's Mahomes.
That is Patrick Mahomes, all-time leading rusher for the Kansas City Chiefs in the Super Bowl. I don't think that's a trick question.
No, I didn't think
because
so.
I didn't say running back or just
No,
leading
first thing
rusher.
I thought was
Yeah,
Patrick.
you said
It was the
Patrick.
first thing I was like, Patrick.
Yeah, because you're so smart. That is correct. Over to leisure with one Sterling Holmes.
Potpourri, name that movie or riddles.
Let's do movie quotes.
All right. Houston, we have a problem. We're moving to Olathe.
Whoa.
I'm kidding. The last part was a lie. That was just based on the Adam Schefter
yeah, okay.
thing from earlier.
I was tracking with you, and then I threw a hard left turn. That's Apollo 11. Apollo 13.
Okay, there we go.
It was Apollo, and I'm pretty sure
That was Apollo versus
it was
Creed.
versus Rocky in Rocky 2, but it was the church scene with Mick when they were going up when she was in the hospital.
And Brad Pitt was in it.
That's right. And Rocky was like, Adrian's in a coma. Apollo, Houston, we have a problem.
Yeah.
That was a crazy church scene that they did when Apollo wasn't even there.
We're very
You know what I
lucky
mean?
he said 13. It was quick enough before we could get him off the line. So you win.
It was-
Congratulations, you're
it
a winner.
It was close to being like, all right, John, you don't even get another choice with that one.
Thank you for the slow buzzer. Thank you. For
Yes,
the slow buzzer.
you're welcome. We'll put you on hold and get your information. Congratulations there. 913-381-0810. Why don't you stand up and fly to the moon like you done before? It was beautiful. That was the church scene.
Yeah, still, yeah.
Mick and Rocky. Don't just stand there like some sort of a mongrel. He's going to kick your face in pieces. Yeah.
I can't believe a city has an entire persona around a fictional character. I will never get over the fact that Philadelphia's biggest memorial is to a fictional movie character.
Well, it's not like they actually have a phenomenal world-class champion boxer that's from there anyway.
It's incredible.
Yeah,
It's
it's not
just
like they actually have that history.
It's the most Philadelphia thing I've seen in my entire life is like, hey,
Probably
we're
right.
just going to have this fictional character be our rallying cry.
Not the
real
not the
one.
real guy
We
that
want the
actually-
fictional one.
Let's go to Kirk next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Kirk, sports or leisure, what side do you want to start with?
I guess let's start with sports and go with some more Chiefs Super Bowl.
All right, Chiefs Super Bowl for you. Can you tell me who the all-time leading tackler for the Chiefs in the Super Bowl is?
I mean, I got an idea. I'm just trying to think
Sterling
about
got
here
it.
a little bit.
Oh, Sterling got it.
We're
Wow.
3 for 3. We're on a heater right now.
I mean, Kirk is just like Sterling is.
I mean, is he also the leading defensive fumble return leader for the Chiefs?
in Super Bowl history. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
That's Nick Bolton.
Oh, yeah, well done, Nick Moulton. Damn it.
imagine
that
he
was my
is.
next question. Who's the all-time leader scooping scores in the Super Bowl for the Chiefs? Damn it. Stole my next one. Erase that one now.
In Super Bowl 4, someone had
Okay.
Buck Buchanan had 4 of them. So
All right, well, Smarty Pants Sterling and Kirk, who's the second leading tackler in Super Bowl history for the Chiefs all time? Smarty Pantses.
Can I shoot a guess?
No, because Sterling's like, I got it right. I'm 3 for 3.
part of me wants to. Ooh.
Well, I need all of you to say it.
Ooh,
at least the mouth part.
Chris Jones, I don't think it wouldn't have that much. I don't think Frank Clark would have it that much, but Frank could be interesting. I think Justin Reed would have more entire. You got to think of safeties and linebackers, I think. So I'll go Justin Reed.
Kirk, who would you say?
I was thinking Reed myself, but maybe Snell. No.
Or it could be
Yeah,
Drew
Reed.
Tranquil.
But
I'll go
Matthew
Justin Reed.
played the first two. Ah, gosh, that's tough.
Who would you say, Michael?
So I was leaning Anthony Hitchens. I don't think it's going to be him. It's going to be someone who played in multiple. I would probably say, I'd say Reed.
It's actually a tie with 2 players. 2 players are tied for second. You guys have all fallen on the one of the guys.
Okay.
And then the other guy has actually been mentioned.
Drew Tranquil.
Nope.
Tyrann Mathieu.
Nope.
Frank Clark.
Nope.
Chris Jones.
Nope.
Who else?
We know that
Anthony Hitchens.
Nope. Kirk said his name.
All right, Leo.
Leo.
Seriously? Oh, now I got
Justin
Leo.
Reed and Leo Chanel both have 16 tackles in the Super Bowl. So there you go.
Wow, I would not
Second
have
one.
guessed Leo.
Yeah.
Good call.
There you go. On to the leisure side. That was fun
I
just
would've
for
guessed
sports. Brad Pitt.
Brad
It's got to be
Pitt.
Brad Pitt. I mean, come on. Not an ounce of fat on him. Just like Leo.
Potpourri. Name that movie or riddles.
Let's name that movie.
Now that is one tasty burger.
Oh my God, that's my all-time favorite.
Yeah.
So we'll go with the Big Kahuna Burger and Pulp Fiction.
That's
Pulp
that
Fiction, yeah.
That's that Hawaiian joint, right? Yeah.
I thought that was a pretty good one because it's not the most obvious one, but, you know, if you've seen the movie, you'll probably remember that.
You ever given a man a foot massage?
No.
Not even the same sport.
I love that. We're in the same bleeping.
Clean it up, though.
It's not in the same state. Not even the same bleeping sport. Well done. Kirk, we will put you on hold and get your information. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you.
Absolutely. It takes 5 minutes to talk to Michael, but he'll do it in 20 seconds. Just like the wolf, but different time frames. Let's go to Shane next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Shane, sports or leisure, what side do you want to start with?
Guys, I'd like to start with sports, please.
Yes, we have. Go ahead. I feel like you already were.
Oh no, I just want to do the category you have the most questions, Jason. How about that?
The most questions left category?
Yeah, the one you haven't had chosen a lot. Yeah.
Okay, great. We'll do Winter Olympics then.
Okay, cool.
And you know what? This should be an easy one. Team USA men getting underway today in hockey. Who did they beat to win the gold in the Miracle on Ice in Lake Placid? Who did they beat to win the gold? Not who did they beat in the Miracle on Ice. We know who they beat there, but
because the semifinals.
they had to win one more.
USSR. Yeah. I just watched. Oh my gosh! Now I'm getting confused with looking at games today.
It's not Latvia.
It's not. I know it's not Latvia.
Tell you it's not Latvia.
I think it's.
Oh yeah.
It's Finland. I think it's. Oh, I don't want to say it being wrong.
No,
Is it Finland?
Finland. No, well done. Well done. It was Finland that they won that they beat and ultimately gave them the gold with the round robin thing that was that with that. So there you go. Lots of sports on to the leisure with Sterling.
Okay, Sterling. I love the name that movie or the movie quotes. Please.
Yeah, he likes. Everybody likes layups.
Name
it's easy.
that movie. I know what you're thinking. Did he shoot 6 times or only 5? Well, do you feel lucky, punk? Well, do ya?
That's an old movie. I don't even think I've seen all that old movie, which is sad. I know. I think it's Dirty Harry.
Yeah, you nailed it. Yeah, Dirty Harry. Yeah, good call.
Yeah. Yep. You don't have to read them to sell them. Well done. Shane, we'll put you on hold and get your information. Well done, sir. Nice job.
Thanks, guys. MIT.
ZOU.
Sterling, do you know the reference that I said that you don't have to read them to sell them?
No, I don't actually.
Okay, well, I'm not going to tell you that one. Maybe you should use it as a movie line then in a question if you don't know it. Let's go to Matt next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Matt, sports or leisure, what side would you like to start with?
Let's keep it rolling with movie quotes, please.
You don't have to read them to sell them. No, okay, go ahead, Sterling. Go ahead.
I'm trying to go to another good one right here. All right. Go ahead. Make my day.
You just got stuck on this guy, right? Oh, man.
It's a good movie.
Is it?
I know who said it.
Yeah.
It's just the same guy.
Yeah. Is it like Sudden Impact?
Yes,
well done,
it is Sudden Impact.
Nice job.
That would have stumped me for the movie. You're like,
then it's like, well, Dirty Harry, but it's not Dirty Harry, but like, yeah, you get it. You get it. Yeah. By the way, wait a minute, that's the one side, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay. I got to remind of after Matt gets the sports question right. Matt, what category are you thinking?
Chiefs Super Bowl, please.
Chiefs Super Bowl for you. Let me find one for yous. Well, that kind of would be a giveaway with that one. So, no, don't want to go with that one either. You know what? We're going to go specific here. See if we can remember back. The first Super Bowl there, 50 years, a lifetime for the Chiefs with Patrick Mahomes. They knocked off the 49ers. Jimmy Garoppolo threw a touchdown pass in that game. Do you know who he threw it to?
I think it was the fullback.
Yes.
I recall Kyle Juszczyk.
Yep. I'm going to take it. That's the way that his teacher in first grade pronounced it, but that was wrong. It's Kyle Juszczyk, but you got it right. It was Kyle Juszczyk. Well done. I didn't even need to give a hint if he's still there. But yeah, well done. That is a winner right there. Matt, we'll put you on hold. Congratulations, sir. Well done.
Thanks, guys. Rock chalk.
What?
Can't do it.
Michael? No, nothing. Okay, very good.
You know, it's funny because Shane actually said, even though I'm a Mizzou guy, I really enjoy watching the Jayhawks. I'm not even kidding.
I said the same thing. Like, and people like, it's you're not a real. I'm like, okay, whatever. Like, don't judge me. It's a likable team to watch.
I'm a KU Jayhawk fan now.
But like that, I'm not like Sterling. You know what I mean? Like
Not
that's
me.
a little bit different. No, I was gonna before we go to break. I was listening to Breaking the Norm with Les Norman. Great show. And he had Frank Bowl on. And so the hour conversation with Frank Bowl is fascinating, the stories that Frank Bowl has. But before he ever got into broadcasting, Frank Bowl was at a party with friends, and it was like a celebrity golf tournament, not Tahoe, celebrity golf tournament that Clint Eastwood played in, and they all went to a bar afterwards, and some of the celebrities were there in like a VIP area. Frank Bowl went to try to find the bathroom, couldn't find it. He runs into Clint Eastwood. He's asking where the bathroom is. Clint Eastwood is trying to tap a keg and asks Frank Bowl how to do it. So Frank Bowl sits there for like 15 minutes pouring out the foam in a keg with Clint Eastwood.
Amazing.
And then he goes back to his friends, and they were like, where the hell were you? He was like, I was tapping a keg and getting all the foam out with Clint Eastwood. They're like, you're such a lying, like you were so full of bleep. And he said, right after that, Clint Eastwood walked by him and said, hey, buddy, thank you.
Hey.
They were like, oh, my God.
I guess you could say he did feel lucky, punk.
He did. That's right. Now you got to ask yourself, have I filled up 6 cups, 5 cups, or 6 cups in these red solos? Huh? All right, we'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We continue with more sports or leisure next. All right, playing some sports or leisure, continuing. $25, Johnny's Tavern we're giving away. Premier Sports Bar, 10 area locations, including Lawrence and Topeka. Let's reset the categories here as we took a break. And $25 we're giving away. A number of winners already. But categories on the sports side, we have General NFL, we have Chiefs Super Bowl, and we have Winter Olympics. What about on the leisure side, Sterling?
We have potpourri, we have riddles, but those two apparently have not mattered because everyone's chose
The
Name
layup.
That Movie.
Oh,
hey, some
make
people have missed.
Your layups.
I think we had 2 people miss.
Hit your bunnies. It's all the same. All right, let's go back to the phone lines, and we bring in David to the conversation. Sports or leisure, David, what side do you want to start with?
Right. Well, give me a layup, I guess. No, I like the movie quotes.
All right.
Lay them up.
We're just going to keep going with the same guy.
Do you need some, you want me to go with something else?
Hey, David, no, nice
I
back
like
cut. Hit him, Sterling. He just had a back cut. Nobody's guarding him.
Ever notice how you come across somebody once in a while you shouldn't have bleeped with? That's me.
Yeah.
It's the same guy.
I feel like I feel like there's a theme here. Like you should be doing Rotten Tomatoes.
There could be a theme here.
Name that Clint movie.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, we know it's Clint
It's
Eastwood.
a lot of them.
Yeah. He got a lot of great quotes.
Yeah.
I didn't even do the hardest ones.
Well, okay.
This was a little bit difficult.
I
There.
just
Sean
watched
Phillips
three-
standing in the lane. So
Yeah.
with this one.
But you can get over him. He'll foul you.
I just watched recently Gran Torino, so it's an easy one to think of. So, Gran Torino, is that the one?
Yes,
job,
that's
dude.
it. If you would have said that, if you'd be like, I know it's not that.
I just
would
watched
have
it. I
laughed
don't remember
so
that.
hard. Yes, correct. That was Gran Torino.
Nice
I
job.
just feel like it was something else for a second, but
Nice job.
Oh, you nailed it.
Yes. All right. We have
what about a good one?
we have Chiefs Super Bowl. We have General NFL, and we have Winter Olympics.
Do you have any easy ones for Winter Olympics, or should I go?
I've got.
I mean, it sounds interesting.
Okay. Sure. Let's go with this one. You know what? This is a fun one. We may have to get some hints to get here, but we'll find out. Which city is the only one to be awarded the Winter Olympics, but then reject and decline hosting the Winter Olympics? Which American city, I should say? The only city to ever put in a bid to be the host city, win the bid, and then say no thank you.
Well,
it's a Winter Olympics, so it's got to be a winter area in the United States.
Right.
It's not. It's 4 years before Lake Placid, so that eliminates that.
Rejected it?
What's up?
Who rejected it? The United States rejected it?
Yes, it was a city in the United States. It actually, they got awarded, and then to build the infrastructure, they needed to have public funding, and the voters voted it down. And so the Winter Olympics had to find a different place. And so they
Was
went.
it recently?
It was 4 years before Lake Placid and the Miracle on Ice.
So it was back in the...
Yep. And it ended up going to Austria that had hosted the Winter Olympics recently because they had their infrastructure still set up. So it actually left the country, went to Austria instead of being here.
Well, then,
It's west.
for winter,
It's west
like
of
it'd
us.
be like- I assume since it's going to be Winter Olympics in the USA a long time ago.
Yep, west of us, but not crazy west of us. But it is,
Did we have one in Utah, or did we have one in Utah?
it's
or not?
east. They did, but I will say Utah put in the bid to offer to take over and host, and the committee declined.
No, wasn't it?
Yeah, so after this city said no, thank you, Utah offered to host them, and the.
Do you know
Olympic-
if we had one in Utah though?
Yeah, we have.
Okay.
Yep. We've had one in Utah before.
all right, so
but,
anyway.
it's west
All
of
right,
here,
so,
but not
well,
that
then
west.
Out of those, I was going to go Colorado next, but
Might as well. Might as well.
well, but the city, that's the trouble.
Yeah, well.
Because, I would think it would be a ski city.
Yeah, it's a pretty popular,
I mean, if
pretty
it's not
big
a
city.
big city.
It's a pretty big
If it's
city
not
there.
big,
What?
It's a pretty big city in that state, kind of the biggest in that state.
The city I know is Denver in that state.
Copper Mountain.
There you go. Denver.
Vail.
Denver put in the bid to be the 1976 host of the Winter Olympics.
So I won?
They won the bid, and then the vote was turned down by the voters to have public funding build the infrastructure. So they went back to Austria.
They're going to the Aspiria campus.
Freaking Denver, man. I mean, Denver just can't even get over there. They would fumble the host committee. So come on, man. But Utah offered, I think a city in Canada was like, we'll take it. And they were like, no, bleep you guys. We're not even going anywhere in North America. We're going back to Austria.
Europe.
Take that, Denver. That's a winner, right? Yep, that's right. Yep, that's right. All right, Dave, we'll put you on hold, get your information. Congratulations. Well done. So, there you go. Like I said, we'd had some hints along the way. I just thought that was an interesting one because I didn't know that story until last night doing some research on the Winter Olympics. I didn't realize that there
More
was
hints than me, dude.
I didn't realize there would be a city that would put in a bid to host, be awarded that bid, and get to host, and then turn it down and say no thank you. You would think that if you were going to win that bid, that you would have something in place that you knew the infrastructure would be there.
Yeah.
That it wouldn't have to go to a vote.
I didn't think we were
going
to win. I didn't think we were going to get this far. I just wanted to pretend like I wanted it.
It's like if Kansas City was like, hey, we want to host the world, we want to be a World Cup host city. You got it. Yeah, well, about that, we just don't think we'll be able to do the whole thing with Arrowhead and, that whole, like, the streetcars.
It's like when you offer to help someone move. You're like, yeah, I'll help you move. And they're like, oh, actually, we help. Oh, I didn't think you were going to accept. I was just trying to be nice.
Yeah, I thought you were 35 years old.
Yeah,
I thought you were just going to say, no, I don't need your help.
Yeah.
I'm going to figure it out on my own. Let's go to the phone lines. And Cajun next up on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Cajun, sports or leisure, what side do you want to start with?
Well, I will start with leisure, but first let me lecture Sterling a little bit one day when we have time to talk about Rocky. You don't know what he's talking about, that statue in Philadelphia. That was an iconic thing.
I do. I lived right next to it. I saw it way I lived there.
In the 70s. Were you around in the 70s when it first happened?
No, I was negative years old.
There you go. I went to first date when I was 16 to that movie. And let me tell you, it was like Bill Murray talking about a couple of rabid sea otters in the back of her little Opel Kadett. It was a good movie.
It was a great movie. It just I think the point being maybe
I don't doubt the movie.
I think the point being maybe the homage to Joe Frazier in the city as opposed to Rocky.
Yes, was more or less my point.
Yeah.
Give me a Clint Eastwood, please.
Yes.
Okay. Well,
name that Clint Eastwood movie.
Well, he should have armed himself if he was going to decorate his saloon with my friend.
That's an easy one. Can I answer that and then ask you the finish one that ties in with your earlier comment?
Sure.
That's Unforgiven.
Correct.
And his friend was Morgan Freeman.
Nice. There you go.
Now, the question is, since your earlier comment, Dirty Harry said in the original Dirty Harry, well, when I see a naked man with a butcher knife chasing a woman through an alley with a butcher knife and a blank, I don't think he's collecting for the Red Cross.
That would have been a great
Did you ever
line.
watch Dirty Harry?
That would have been a great line for Sterling to offer.
I should have done that.
Yes,
but now
I
I didn't.
Maybe it was like a Freudian slip there when he was talking earlier. If he saw Dirty Harry, and that quote stuck with him.
That's on me. That's on me, Cajun.
Yeah. All right, Winter Olympics, because who knows more about Winter Olympics than a Cajun from the Bayou?
That's exactly right.
Always thought that.
All right, Cajun, what is the oldest Winter Olympic sport?
Oh.
What is it? It's got to still be running. What is the oldest
I would
continuous?
think downhill.
The oldest Winter Olympic sport. Oddly enough, you would think that Winter Olympic,
not like an event.
Yes, there you go. So, but here's the thing. Here's the one hint I'll give, is that I'm surprised that it isn't just a simple race to see who won. That it would be something that is very arbitrary in terms of what different people are seeing and judging on. So there you go.
Ice skating?
Close. It's a
Yeah,
form.
I'll take you out.
It's a form of that.
It's a form of speed skating?
No, Cajun. It's not speed skating. Damn it.
All right, well, I'll give up. All right. Have a good one.
Yes, thank you, sir. 913-381-0810. That's out there. Ronnie, sports or leisure, what side do you want to start with?
I guess I'll finish. Was that a sports one he was working on?
Yes, it was.
I'll do figure skating.
It is figure skating, yes. It's interesting, like, with all of the ways to decide, like, who the better athletes are. Not that they're not athletes, but it's like you would think, okay, let's come up with Winter Olympics. All right, great. Skiing, ice skating, races. No, what if we had them dance and we judged them?
Tackling people in the snow.
Right.
Oklahoma drills in the snow.
Oklahoma drills in the
been-
snow would have been great. But then that's also form, the way you tackled, judges, 10 points.
I thought curling, for sure.
Curling would have been fun. Yeah, absolutely. Over to leisure with Sterling.
I don't know. I don't remember what we had.
We have
toss-up ones. Movies?
We have potpourri, name that movie, and riddles.
I don't know. Just give me, I don't know, dealer's choice.
Ooh,
on
yeah.
Preferably an easy one.
What would you like to ask,
This
Sterling?
is what I would like
A lot
to
of
ask.
pressure on you right here, man. Lots of pressure.
I love this. What is cut on a table but never eaten? Jason got it. If Jason can get it, you can get it.
Yeah. All right.
Jason almost never gets riddles, so.
That's not true.
You always give me some answer that's not close to the real answer.
Well, it's absolutely close because then you're like, oh, wow, I guess that would be an answer.
There's no clues out there.
Thinking outside
Think of this.
the box.
What is
That's what I
cut
do.
on a table but is never eaten? So I'll give you the hint of it's probably not going to be food related.
Because it's not eaten.
But it's something that a lot of times might be, not always, but can be involved or cut on a table.
Yeah. You got sometimes you got to cut it.
Sometimes I'll pass it to someone to even cut it.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
That way
That's
they
a
know
lot
it's
of
fair.
pre-
That
it's
way
a
they
lot
know
of
it's fair.
pressure.
Yeah,
It's a lot of pressure.
can be big cut, little cut, middle cut.
Yeah, especially when you've got new shoes. It's a lot of pressure.
That hint made me completely lose it.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
The last one that you said.
Well,
Yeah, I was saying shoes. I don't know. That's throwing me off.
well, it's not an actual
It's
shoe.
not an
I mean,
actual shoe.
It's not
instantly,
an
I-
actual
you
shoe.
know,
It's just what it's called.
Yeah, if you were in
It's terminology
a certain
of that. if
city.
you're- and if you're playing a certain game.
Yep.
But anyway, sorry. My bad.
Oh, cut the deck.
Yes, deck of
There you go,
cards.
deck of cards, yes.
Correct.
Got a new shoe. There you go.
21, sir.
Yes. All right. That's a winner, right?
That's a winner.
Well done. All right, Ronnie, we'll put you on hold. Congratulations. Well done, sir. Nice job.
Thank you.
There you go.
See,
Excellent.
riddles are fun, and everyone's always scared. How enjoyable was that?
I don't know that everyone's always scared.
They're scared.
That's a very demonstrative, very specific and cemented opinion that gives no wiggle room whatsoever. That
Correct.
Everybody is always scared of riddles, yet there are people that call in all the time and ask for riddles.
And they're scared.
Good to know. All right, we'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll wrap up the show. That ends it with sports or leisure. We'll talk a little bit about some college basketball, what happened last night. More Zone coming up next. I will continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Sports or Leisure presented by Johnny's Tavern. We gave away $25 to Johnny's Tavern to the winners in Sports or Leisure. We talked a lot of college basketball in the first hour, talked a lot about what the win last night means for the Missouri Tigers and the trajectory of the season that could be changing with that win, how they won, the significance of how they played to get that win. We talked about all of those things as it relates to the Missouri Tigers. A big night for Mizzou last night. Now an opportunity to capitalize on the ground you've gained by knocking off Texas at home on Saturday.
Huge.
So huge night for Mizzou, and one of maybe the best games that Trent Pierce and T.O. Barrett have played individually, and it came on a night that they both had to have that. With the pressing nature of A&M, which put a lot of pressure on T.O., and then the size disparity that the Missouri Tigers had in their favor, Trent Pierce needed to play like he's 6'11", and he played like he's 6'11", going up against guys that are 6'7" and 6'8".
It was just a phenomenal, important game, and now I think Missouri is firmly might be a little strong, but I think right now they're on the inside of the bubble. I think 100%. They're probably looking like a 9 or a 10. I think they wouldn't even be first or last 4 in. I think they'd probably be closer to last 8 in. But and maybe I'm a little too bullish, but I've been pretty, I think, on it where I've not pessimistic, but honest about where this Missouri team is at, because their non-con was so poor, and they need to do more than maybe some other teams, especially with the SEC being a little down overall, right? They have wins over Florida, Kentucky, Auburn, and now A&M, but overall the SEC is not quite as deep as it was in the previous couple seasons, and they're earning their way into March, and that's, I think, what the expectations were this year, because next year's the year with, what's his name? Not Cruz. Crow.
The two McDonald's All-Americans coming in.
Yes, next year's the year where you're sitting here going, okay, this is the fun. This is the little, if you make it to the tournament, great year. Give fans something to hope for, and Dennis Gates has grown, I think, as a coach, which is what you want to see, not just a recruiter.
Kansas State lost to Cincinnati last night. On February 5th, Cincinnati lost to West Virginia at home. They haven't lost since. But after that game, Wes Miller, the head coach of the Cincinnati Bearcats, was heading to the locker room and decided to take a detour to talk to fans after that loss on February 5th. This is clip number 6. This is what Wes Miller had to say to the fans after they lost to West Virginia.
You guys deserve to be frustrated. It ain't okay. I understand the responsibility of this job. These results ain't okay.
Thank you.
You guys deserve to be frustrated. But I'm a human too, and nobody's more frustrated than I am. So trust me, I care deeply about something.
So there's Wes Miller after that loss. They went and knocked off Kansas State by 29 points last night. Here's Jerome Tang after yet another loss, their third straight home loss by at least 20 points. Here's Jerome Tang's comments after that game.
Hey, I'm gonna honor Christ like I always do. Blessed to do this, but this was embarrassing. These dudes do not deserve to wear this uniform. There will be very few of them in it next year. I'm embarrassed for the university. I'm embarrassed for our fans, our student section. It is just ridiculous. We got practice at 6 a.m. tomorrow morning, and we will get this thing right. I have no answer and no words. So y'all got 2 questions. So whoever want to ask 2 questions, I'll answer them to the best of my ability right now. But right now, I'm pissed, and this is all right. Question.
So there you go. He did answer a couple of questions. Said that he'd wear a bag over his head too. The fans. But the players are definitely the issue It's definitely the players that are the problem at Kansas State.
Not him. Not the guy that brought the players.
Well, we're all trying to find who put this team together.